Vampires don't rise and shine. Instead, we rise and grind the bones of our enemies into dust to create rings and other unique stuff. Our kind no peasant can understand, not while holy men spread poison across the land. But the shadow of Dracula is long, and one day we will conquer all of Vardaran. Welcome, vampires, to another V Rising tournament series. This is the $300 Merciless Duos Cash Cup for June 4th. Welcome. And now I'm going to introduce our esports partner, Odin, who is a longtime professional, colleague, and friend.
How we doing today, everybody? I hope everyone's as excited about this tournament as we are. We've been talking about it the last couple days and really looking forward to it. This format is a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited to see what happens today. The action right out of the gate. Once the 30-minute timer's over, all bets are off.
All bets are off, and I'm excited to see what people are going to be doing with those 30 minutes. As we saw from the last Merciless Solos tournament, we had so many vampires at Alpha Wolf that Alpha Wolf had an insane amount of health. It took us 10 minutes to grind him down. We had multiple players getting killed at Alpha Wolf. And remember, you can gank and loot other players while your PvP protection is on. And additionally, we've got a chaotic rule set for this tournament. We have all V Rising vampire power tier progression bosses with 120% health and power. So we're going to have powerful Quincey's, Octavian, Beatrice, and all three of the unique Soul Shard carriers, as well as Styx the Sunderer and Wilfred the Werewolf. So we're going to see a lot of players dying at the bosses and a lot of rat strategies and other unique things that we haven't yet seen before in the tournament setting.
I honestly, we were talking about this last night when we were just doing sort of the kind of pregame setup. I love the kind of unique rule set that we got going on here. I think the Bandit King is going to be so much fun to watch, and honestly, Clive always ends up being an early game gatekeeper for a lot of players because he's just so obnoxious to deal with. And if you go in there by yourself, you're worrying about all the other vampires finding you once you get over there. And then on top of that, you got to deal with all his AoE, all the mob packs that love to just pat around, run around. I've seen like 50 plus people and mobs combined over at Clive when these servers start, because he's very important. You need those explosives.
Madness and stupidity.
Not only do you need the explosives, but you also need a merciless copper weapon in order to effectively grind for iron. And so we do have 125% harvesting rates for this tournament. So we're going to be getting wood, iron, copper, and stone a bit faster, but you have to have that merciless copper to get there. And so Clive does drop one merciless weapon recipe guaranteed. And so we do see players farming him over and over just to get the merciless weapon that they're looking for. And of course, the PvP meta has not yet been established. We see a lot of players using the axe, especially in iron, but I think every weapon has a time and place. And you see a lot of high tier competitive players actually bringing multiple weapons out with them.
Just pulling up the game here. We're waiting. Oh, don't forget to claim your quest, guys. We are ready and waiting for the tournament to get started here, and I'm sitting outside of the starting room. We were debating getting out into the open world before, but I love this little early game rush when everybody's kind of deciding, okay, there's too many people here. Do I leave? Do I stay for some bones? Do I rush for a base? The first 30 minutes, while you've got that protection, there's so much decision making to be done, and it's really honestly one of the most critical parts of the run. Getting ahead at the start can really set you up for the whole run.
Madness and
Exactly,
stupidity.
especially in a duos format where you have the opportunity to use two castles. I think we're going to see a lot of strange and interesting things happen out in Silverlight Hills, right, the tier 3 zone. I think we're going to have players separate from their duo partner, and they're going to go try to put a base down in those very high tier locations like the top left of Silverlight Hills, so you have access to that end game farm and an easily defensible castle, and that's where you're going to want to put those unique souls. So for this tournament, getting the Soul of Solaris by the end of the Friday Night Siege window is going to guarantee you $150 for first place. Second place is going to be the Winged Horror, and third place, the Soul of the Behemoth. So these players are going to be sieging every night for 1 hour, trying to eliminate and zero out the competition, as well as keep themselves ahead and claim those unique souls and prizes. In the past two tournaments, we've had one player get all 3 souls by the end of each tournament. So you do have them using those unique souls, the clan buffs, to boost themselves up and then go siege to steal other people's souls. And you love to see that. You've got a really exciting hour of competition in PvP every single night.
Yeah, those souls are a little bit of a case of the rich get richer. You get that buff, and it really does make a difference to your combat prowess. And obviously you want to defend it, but the power that it gives you kind of makes you top dog. If you're the only one that's got one, nobody can really stand up to you 1v1, especially if you're ahead on gear. So it really incentivizes the players to then push their advantage even further, really go for the rest of the souls. I'm curious to see if we're going to end up with somebody having all three once again, or if it's going to be a little bit more evened out. This is a very interesting format. I think there's so many opportunities for things to just go any which way, and especially with duos, there is a reason to split up from your duos. To go off and kind of accomplish things on your own, but you always want to stay sort of near each other. There's the kind of, okay, I got to drop everything and hit the teleporter. Is it worth it for me to drop all this stuff? Do we just sack the death here? So many little minute details, so many decisions that go into the early game that really make the opening hour so exciting.
For sure, and you're probably going to want to have the most valuable loot on one player, so that way your partner can kind of take hits if you're losing and try to get some stuns off and essentially sacrifice themselves to enable you to turn into a bear or wolf or mount and escape with the important loot. And then, like you said, especially in tier 2, I think we're going to have a lot of duos separating, and one player will go get cotton, right? That way they'll be picking up that garlic debuff, and the other player will go get iron. And then you're, of course, going to have your Force Lords riding around trying to gank all of those players that are gathering and trying to stop them from progressing. I definitely think with the unique modifiers, we're going to have a lot longer fights at Quincey and Octavian, which will allow people who turn into rats to kind of just hang out at those bosses. Like we saw in my Rat Strat video, it actually can be very, very effective to sit as a rat somewhere. You can watch their health, you can steal the boss, you can just join them, right, and drink the neck of the boss. If you're behind in the tournament, you can always catch up. You have that 30-minute protection time. So if you join the tournament 3 or 4 hours late, it might behoove you to just go fish, grab your Twilight Snapper, turn into a rat, and hang out at Octavian, essentially skipping into tier 3, or hang out at Quincey and skip into tier 2. And we've seen that strategy play out. It does work, and it is very effective.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any more literal than ratting, right? I mean,
exactly.
It doesn't. Exactly. When we say ratting is a viable strategy in this game, we mean that very literally. So get your rat form, sneak around, see who you can jump up on, see who you can kind of surprise attack. The human form. I'm curious to see if we're gonna see anybody. If we're gonna see anybody try to pull a fast one with the granny form, because I've actually seen that people. So I've used the granny form before, and some people didn't know it existed, because they just had the human form auto added to their wheel, and they didn't notice. The granny form is very funny because it is super slow.
Yeah, we'll see it for the first time ever, a granny strat where you hang out by Beatrice and maybe use the town watch. The militia longbowmen are out there spreading fire across the land and trying to purge all monsters. And so I would be very excited to see that. I think rat form would still be more effective there, but I think the granny form would just be entertaining. That'd be a good highlight for sure.
And stupidity.
I'm looking forward to whoever gets the first bat form. I don't know if we're gonna get to that on the first few hours of the stream here, but if we do, that bat form is just so ridiculously good, and especially when you're still early on in the game and everybody's kind of like, they don't have their honeycomb fortress set up yet, they don't have the most well laid out defenses for their castle. The bat really can get you, allow you to sneak in there and steal stuff if people aren't careful. I think at this point, if you're signed up for the tournament, you're probably going to be pretty vigilant for those kinds of things and making sure that you're blocking off all your wall. But there's just so many things to juggle and prioritize when you're racing like this. It's not like it's not like you're playing on a PvE server where you get to just kind of kick back, relax, and do things at your own pace. You are constantly watching your back.
And we saw that a lot in my tournament play as well. Is sometimes your plan goes out the window. Your speedrunning strats are gone when every skeleton in the game is taken. in that initial opening of the server, right? For the Merciless solo tournament, we had 50 out of 50 players within the first 2 minutes of launch out and about in the tutorial, and there was just no skeletons anywhere. We couldn't finish our quests, and that made progressing very difficult. And in that 30-minute window, I could not put my base down because I couldn't progress the quest enough. All the wolves were dead, all the horses were taken. And so that's what it's just going to be interesting to see how this duo format plays out. Now, this is an open format tournament, drop in, drop out. So the server will not be password protected, and you will have to get on when you can get on and compete. And the server will only be open for 12 hours today and tomorrow, and 8 hours on the weekdays. Additionally, as you mentioned with the honeycombing, we've got some more unique rule sets because a player's castle in tier 1 can only have 30 tiles. And in tier 4, it can only have 60 tiles. And for servants, you've got 1 at tier 1 and 4 at tier 4. And so you just have smaller castles. You have to be more strategic with your defense. And that's going to allow players to be able to have a chance to siege you. Because as we've seen, the siege golem is strong early game, but by late game, it's very weak. And sieging is going to be a large part of this tournament and claiming those unique souls.
So talk to me a little bit about the rule set. What's our groundwork here when we're talking about teaming up with other teams to attack a castle? There's a lot of truce alliance kind of made in these heat of the moment fights. You can definitely, I mean, you're still at risk of killing each other. Don't get me wrong. Even if you ally with people, you cannot avoid hitting people if they are in your way. That's just how it goes. But
definitely,
you can team up to take out the big bad if he's killing everybody on the server.
Yeah, so we have in this server an absolutely no teaming allowed rule set, and we will review all submitted video evidence in the player feedback channel. Please join the Discord at discord.gg/eclipsegaming for the full rule set and access to those channels. Tag yourself for V Rising. But with that being said, there is a way to team without teaming. It's a battle royale style game. So what we've seen in past tournaments is the majority of players in an area will always try to kill the highest item level player because this is Merciless. So you will be dropping all of your gear on the ground. It's very easy to run over there, loot all, and put on that player's gear, and it immediately boosts your health and power. And so you're going to see the same thing with castles, right? With a 1-hour siege window, we have the siege golems being announced, but they're not shown on the map. But anyone with the Eye of Twilight is going to see where those unique souls are. So especially if one duo has 2 or more souls, the majority of players during that siege window are going to show up to siege those players because they want that prize money.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the Eye of Twilight, it will identify those soul shards anywhere on the map, no matter where they are. So actually having the golem not being announced but not shown on the map is going to be very interesting because it does make it more difficult for teams to kind of piggyback off of another team's offense. Of course, if you have your own Eye of Twilight, you see a golem pop up on the map, you probably have a pretty good idea of where it's going. But at least it makes it... there's so many little things about this game that are... It just makes the PvP so cool. The Merciless... Listen, I've played non-full loot. I haven't done full loot yet because I'm waiting. We have a server that some friends and I are going to be starting. That's a weekly reset for Duo Merciless, and I'm super excited to play it. Watching this today is going to give me so many ideas. I love stealing tech and like castle designs and traps and stuff from people.
And with that, the server is now live. Welcome to the $300 Duos Cash Cup, sponsored in part by Stunlock Studios. This morning, we had the CEO of Stunlock Studios in our DMs, congratulating us on building this community and laying the foundations of the competitive scene. So we are out here hanging out and diving in. The competition is heating up every single week. We're seeing new strats and counter strats and the rise of new and interesting ideas like the granny strat, as we talked about earlier. And so I'm excited to see what we've got and what these players are going to do. So here we go. We're off to the races. You're going to be watching from Odin's perspective as he will be the admin with the eyes in the sky. And now keep a watch on chat as well. We're going to be doing some admin events here in the first 2 hours of the tournament. The first event will be killing a Scourgestone Bandit with the name of So Rat Strange, who will have a stack of Scourgestone, a set of bandit equipment, and copper slashers. As most of you know, slashers cannot be crafted in the copper variant, but we have access to the admin capabilities, so that bandit will have copper slashers. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be 1 hour into the tournament at the copper mines. We will announce the time and place, and we're looking forward to seeing who shows up, who gets killed, and what happens next. Welcome to the tournament.
Welcome. As soon as we can get into the server, I think everyone connecting at once kind of blocked me out right there. We're going ahead, try to rejoin here. I'm okay. I like I said before, I didn't want to start outside of the tutorial area because I really want to watch that. Like you mentioned, everybody starting at the skeletons and the like fighting over all the bones. They're such an important, valuable resource early on in the game, and really you need them for everything.
Madness.
Throughout
Madness
even the later
stupidity.
game, because you need the grave dust and all that. But early game, it's just all about getting those bone weapons, getting them updated so you can complete your quest, get your recipes, get your next thing going. 50 people running out of the gate, all fighting over skeletons. It's going to be very feast or famine.
Yeah, absolutely feast or famine, which was the name of my solo tournament video, because you really have to try to make plays and decide if you're going to go for a big come up or if you want to play it safe. Of course, going out naked is always a viable strategy in a hardcore game, like you talked about with the Merciless setting. Whatever you go out with, you have the potential to lose. So sometimes you do make low risk, high reward plays. Sometimes you make high risk, high reward. And of course, ganking players is always going to be one of the best strategies to get an inventory full of loot. And as we saw, you can easily, maybe not easily, maybe that's not the right word. You can kill skull players in this game, especially if they misplay or they're busy fighting a monster or a boss. And so there are a lot of strategic locations, especially in Cursed Forest and Silverlight Hills, where those players are just going to be taking immense damage. And if you get a big incapacitate off, a werewolf or a Lightweaver is going to dominate them.
We've got our first two out the door. Bacon and J-Sick. Nero, let's go. I can't wait for this. This is going to be fantastic.
Nero, one of the best players in the world right now. He had one of the unique souls in the solo tournament. So here we go. Obviously, the first players to spawn are going to get those skeletons, and everyone else is going to be left literally in the dust.
Hey, stopping for the first skeleton. I like it. For some reason, the teleport key is not working for me. So let's see if I can fix that real quick. Don't know why that's not working.
Is it authorize admin again?
Yeah, let me try that again.
Admin auth.
Oh.
Madness and stupidity.
Yep, there you go.
There we go.
Boom. So you're not going to want to use WASD at all, as they will hear your footsteps. And so this is our admin eye in the sky perspective. We will be teleporting around the map to strategic locations like Copper Mine, Quincey, Healy, and Clive for Tier 1. We're going to see a lot of PvP the minute those PvP protections wear off as well.
Oh yeah, we're off to the races already. People already out of here. And somebody was like ahead of the pack and got all of these. This is going to be very interesting. Saucy being one of the last people that seems to be lagging behind here. But we're going to see another wave of players coming out because that wasn't everybody, I would suspect, that's going to be coming out of the tutorial room.
Definitely not. And like we talked about earlier, look, you've got the players who are level 0. They don't have enough bones to get the bone sword. So you're going to have players hoping to just grab the loot off another player who's dead. And so please, you guys, join the Discord. We've got the form to sign up with your duo team. You must sign up via the Discord in order to claim these cash prizes. And we will, of course, make executive decisions if you want to change partners early in the lifespan of the tournament, or you want to make changes. But we have a lot of teams out here. We've got Saucy Peppers, Climb Tree, Dusk Till Dawn, of course, is a great name. Let me see what else we got. We've got Valor, Morgulus, Built Different, the Cousins of Dracula.
Cousins of Dracula?
Whatever, and Chicks with Nicks. We got a lot of teams here. We got 50 teams signing up, more every second coming in. Welcome, and remember, as always, that joining the tournament late, you can still win, absolutely. Pulling off a strategic siege or a good gank is going to get you probably into a higher tier than you even are. And as we saw in the Merciless solo tournament, and I'm sure we're going to see in duos, you can absolutely kill Terra, the Siege Golem Geomancer, and have Siege Golems on day 1. We're about 9 hours away from that first siege window. You're going to have people grinding and sweating and diving into this tournament, going for these cash prizes. And the prize pool is growing. We had a couple people in our DMs asking about donating to the prize pool. So please jump in the Discord. We've got an announcement on where you can donate, and we will add those directly to the prize pool, guys. All of this $300 is out of our pockets, and anything else that you put in will also go into the tournament fund. This is a non-profit adventure that we're embarking on here.
All right, so it looks like everybody's just kind of settling off into their own locations, fighting mobs on the way, trying to pick stuff up. Nero dangerously low on HP already.
Imagine dying at level 6.
Yeah.
That would be huge for someone.
Picking up all that loot. Look, Nomadic over here just taking up, trying to take up a fight with zero HP. Or with level 0 with almost no HP. Yikes. Yeah, that's...
Pop on over to Alpha Wolf right there at that POI nearby, and we'll see if anyone's trying to challenge Alpha Wolf.
Madness and stupidity.
See if we can get right on over there. I don't know if... Do we have a...
I think we just passed one there at the Wolf Den, but if you pull up the map...
he's
it will
over
be
here, right?
down to your southeast on that corner.
Down here?
Southeast, yeah, exactly. I think we saw one patrolling around, so of course you're going to get a lot of players. Oh, here's tons of players.
Oh boy, here we go.
There's Alpha Wolf.
Looks like some people might have ults.
Wait, how do they have ults?
So there's
Every
some...
ult unlocked. Uh-oh.
Yeah, there was some, there's some people in chat saying the clan is limited to 1 and any people have ults unlocked plus bat form.
Oh no, I have screwed this rule set up. We're about to do a hard reset early in this tournament's lifespan. I apologize, everyone. I thought I was increasing the boss. Let me, man, I'm gonna have to do a hard reset here. I think we're gonna have to reset the whole server. This is Scuffed.
Yeah, looks like everybody.
Let's go.
All right, well, hey, you know it would...
All right. This was a practice, more than practice.
Yep, this is practice, guys. All right, good job, everybody. Pat yourself on the back. We're gonna go ahead and restart now.
Absolutely restarting this one. My fault. Clan size is 1.
This is really funny to watch, though. You got dudes with ultimates running around out here having a hard time killing Alpha Wolf.
You gotta say that the configuration files and the settings through G-Portal are pretty hard to understand. So I'm gonna cut myself a break here. Oh, add V-Blood unit settings. Oh yeah, I must have given everyone their ultimates here. Oops. And I think I increased the level of those ultimates as well. Alright, so the clan size is now 2. Hopefully ultimates are off. Let me save this, and we are going to do a full restart here and wipe. I apologize, guys. Look, we have so many players from the solo tournament out here. So this is going to be a hard reset here, guys. The server is coming off. We're deleting the save game. That was just a fun 8 minutes of practice.
Test run.
And PvP. Big test run here for the Duos tournament. So whoever is in charge of these settings for the server did a horrible job. I'm not going to name names, but we're going to go ahead and get that server back online now. We are live and hopefully ready to roll out without ultimates with a clan size of 2 and all the correct settings for the server.
All right. Well, you know,
A June 4th classic.
Hey, listen, it wouldn't be a stream if there wasn't some scuff. That's what I've learned throughout my time on Twitch here. It's good that we got it out of the way early. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so we are, in fact, restarting. Apologies about that one, guys. We are bringing the server back up right now. Hopefully the server settings are good.
Why don't you open up really quick and make sure you don't have ults unlocked? Just
what
push.
The fuck is this? Trash server, trash server.
Fresh server, fresh server. We restarted twice in a row. We know everyone loves those fresh starts, right? The early game, the PvP. So everyone now has a chance to get back in and dive into it.
Madness and stupidity.
Let's go ahead and turn off voice chat there.
Good call out. And then just push P and we'll see what we have access to. Hopefully we have fixed it.
Yeah, we didn't have anything. We're good.
Okay, good. So I gotta say, on the G portal settings, I thought it was giving those bosses a +5 gear level, but instead I was making the ultimates 5 levels stronger. So we saw right there some Solaris Angels out in the field wrecking havoc, some unholy victories. Imagine if we had not noticed until the PvP protection wore off. That actually would be a crazy unique modifier and kind of cool. If I'm being real, we would see a lot of ultimates out and about very early in the lifespan of the server, but we are back here. 10 minutes in, a bit of a late start. Hectic as always. Good luck getting in. Unfortunately, this is a filled up 50 out of 50 server, so you may have to wait to get in. Your partner might not make it, but just forge ahead and lay that castle down in a strategic spot and keep on trying. This is the $300 Duos Cash Cup.
All right, so a little bit of a hiccup there, but once again, we were only a few minutes in, so I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on the game. But if you had those bones at the start, better hope you get out there and get them back quick. Let's go ahead and set this last setting, toggle observe 1, and we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and also teleport to the copper mine and work our way back, unless there's a closer one that you have for me. Do we have Alpha Wolf coordinates?
No, only because Alpha Wolf, although he's in the same spot very often, including that time, while I was speedrunning, right? I'm kind of a professional tier 1 speedrunner. After that, I kind of fall off. But he, in all my speedruns, I've done about 20. He's only been in that spot that we were just at, that wolf den, 18 times. So another time he was out wandering the road, and another time he was just off sitting by some bears. So Alpha Wolf does have the capability of being in a lot of different and unique locations.
All right, I can already hear somebody out here. I think, unless my mind's playing tricks on me.
That's a wolf chasing a deer.
We do have Sky T out of the gate. Let's go.
Sky T, one of the best PvPers in the world. I highly recommend you all check out Sky T's YouTube. That's going to be YouTube Sky T. We got to give a shout out to these competitive players who are always out here grinding and sharing their strategies in the Discord. Sky T had a 1 versus 4 in the first week on an official server and managed to pick up all 4 kills at equal item level, just playing with the axes and peeling back and using incredible strategy. He also used his castle to fall back, heal, go back out and kill another one. So just a wonderful player here. The clan settings are fixed, so we're going to see these clans starting to come together.
Do a little bit of a misclick there, I think, from Sky T, who was trying to consume the deer but accidentally clicked, killing it there. Not a big deal, but you can see the players, you can see how much the bones matter early game, that they're actually fighting over deer and wolves instead of moving on. It really does. It holds back your progress so much if you don't get those bones early on. But Sky T already level 6, looking pretty strong right now. So, I mean, we're potentially going to see somebody heading directly towards Alpha Wolf within the first few minutes here. Like you mentioned when we talked about this beforehand, there is actually an HP scaling for the bosses depending on how many players are nearby. So as you saw there, despite the fact that everybody had their ults, nobody was able to kill the Alpha Wolf. They were fighting it for like a good 3 minutes with ults, and it was still like 30% HP.
And that's why I think we're going to see some new strategies, right? The majority of people go for Alpha Wolf first, and then they wolf their way to Keeley or Copper Mine, or maybe go pick up a horse. But that might not be the strategy anymore. If it takes 10 minutes to kill Alpha Wolf with 20 or 30 players there, I think other people just go do something else, right? And we used to see in the very first tournament the majority of players trying to Horse Lord Ferocious Bear and then Horse Lord Quincey to skip to tier 2. But now that strategy is out in the open, and way more players are building a base, getting into Copper, and then going to gatekeep Quincey to stop those speedrunners, right? Picking up a kill on them at Quincey is not only going to set them all the way back to 0 because they don't have a base, but it's probably going to make some people actually quit the tournament. And with a Merciless setting, right, this hardcore environment, and with a cash prize on the line, we're going to see a lot more players being cutthroat.
Nobody's taking on the bandit camp just yet. This early paper doesn't do a whole lot for you, but these boxes, these chests, the destructibles here can really, you can get pretty lucky with those. You can get a lot of different items out of those. So I'm surprised we haven't seen anybody going straight for that yet. But already some NPCs on the road that have taken some damage from wolves, from this kind of like scripted events as running around. We saw a couple of those players actually heading off, like you mentioned. They weren't going straight for Alpha Wolf. They decided to head up northwest and look for places to build potentially. Maybe get set up near Clive. There's a lot of
head east,
strategies
actually
here.
Let's just head east and check Alpha Wolf.
Let's go take a look. We'll
right on the corner. And especially in the first 2 tournaments, we saw the majority of players spawning at the eastern spawn point straight out of the tutorial into Farbane Woods to go for Alpha Wolf. And potentially, if you're one of those first few players, you might actually be able to get Alpha Wolf down before everyone shows up. But here we do have Alpha Wolf here.
Ooh, it's already
and he's
almost
at about 30%. Look at the amount of vampires here, all going for Alpha Wolf. I don't think we're going to see nearly as many players die here as we did in the first tournament. You have a lot of more competition, and players are getting better and better at using those counters and their iframe on the spacebar to get away from the wolf. Now, these bosses do hopefully have 120% bonus health and power, so you're going to be surprised if you're not prepared for that. These chaotic rule sets are going to catch a lot of players off guard, and I think we're going to see that. There's a player already at 5%. Tiki, you know if they die, someone's going to be sucking up all of their loot. We've got a couple duos who actually made it into the server. You see some of the same colored names. Those players are going to be in the clans. We have Glaucus and Anoris there together, as well as Vayne and Slinky.
Yeah, we also, if you see, we actually do have a couple of people that managed to get level 8 already. This is going to be pretty big for them. Opening up the wolf form this early too, giving yourself that ability. It looks like Alpha Wolf is going to go down. We're going to see a whole lot of people jumping on it real quick. Look at that circle of red.
Look at everyone just showing up.
Imagine it. These guys back here just made out like bandits. They just walked out. Look at Granny was back there, just walked out of spawn with all of those bones because they waited until everybody else left. Look at all the wolves running away now.
Everyone's going to Keeley. They want the leather.
We're off to the races.
In order to fight these bosses, you are going to need a set of Night Stalker, more than likely, and having that bonus in health is definitely going to help you. We see some players that look like they want to go for Rufus, but Rufus is definitely skippable in my opinion. It does give you woodworking, which will allow some people to get a fishing pole so they can start going for the Twilight Snapper, or to get a bow. But the majority of players absolutely going to Keeley, and we saw this in the last tournament, but we're starting to lose players here in the Zerg as they stop to get these chests. As you can see, they're not even killing the monsters. They're grabbing the chests for that random chance at planks or a bandit weapon, right? That's
the Rogan
item
cap
level.
Oh, Viking Vamp almost getting themselves killed right there with that Rogan cap. I love seeing that. That stealth. We got the early game daggers PvP, or I guess the slicers. Viking Vamp on 1 HP does get taken out by him.
One player goes down. You're going to see them get ganked here for sure. That player wants to do it, but while you're ganking, you are going to be taking damage. Someone is going to, absolutely, this level 0 is going to have a massive come up right now. Instantly level 3, feeling good.
Oh no, Glaucus getting snuck up on by the rogue as he's trying to drink the blood.
All right, let's go northeast here to Keeley.
She's got to be, I mean, they've already started making their way into the camp. The big thing is going to be getting in there. Getting past all this level 10 already, actually.
The
looking
level
very
20
good.
Monsters are going to be so dangerous this early, and like you mentioned, the rogue on the incapacitate is going to put you into an early grave if you're not paying attention and you don't pop that counter at the right time. We see Keeley there walking around. Now, a lot of these players are going to be way ahead of the competition. A lot of people are going to be waiting for Alpha Wolf to respawn, right? That has just thrown a wrench into their plans, and you're going to see the same thing here with Keeley. I'm sure we do have players going for horses right now as well, and a couple of these duos teams have a bit of a head start.
Yeah, the teams are just trying to fight their way into Keeley in the first place. Now, Keeley, honestly, despite the fact that she is level 20, she's not that hard because everything she does is projectiles, so you can dodge it. You don't really have to worry too much about getting snuck up on. She doesn't have any like slows or CCs aside from her big AoE frost arrow thing. So you're relatively safe fighting her. And the big problem is that you have to deal with all the mobs just walking through the camp. And with how long it's taking the players to get rid of these mobs, they're going to be worried about respawns while they're fighting her. And look, there's still half of the camp that's still up. You see one player just sneaking back there, and like I was talking about, getting those boxes and barrels broken, and Keeley has been pulled. I don't know if that was intentional. I think Humilitant may have just griefed everybody in this camp. This is a smart strategy. I like this. You can't fight while the PvP protection's on. We still got 20 minutes on every player, so he's luring all these mobs. If they did actually get caught off guard there, that would have killed them.
For sure, and if you take all 3 of Keely's frost arrows, it's going to be around 100 plus damage. So at a low level, especially Zeus here at level 0, who I believe we watched get killed earlier and all of his stuff taken, if you get hit by all 3 of those at level 0, you are very likely to get killed, especially with the V-Blood bosses having 120% power spikes. We're going to see way more players stuck in Tier 1. Look at, you're seeing players play a lot better than usual. They're hanging out, they're trying to go at this in a very smooth way, right? You have to play slow and smooth now, and slow is fast as well as safe. Here we go, this player getting ganked as well. Svedin going to be picking up all of their materials.
I believe they were level 0.
That was his partner, so he allowed him to get rezzed rather than having another player go for the gank there. You have some players who are just trying to farm and progress, and then the other players trying to stop them. Militant was one of the top players in the Merciless solo tournament, the Cash Cup that just passed, and so we have some wonderful players out here absolutely going to be going for ganks and employing some weird strategies.
Yeah, I like this setting up the the PvE ganks right now. So we actually see Mulk. I think didn't realize that Keely was targeting them, and now Keely is in the 1v1 over here, while the rest of the team... Oh, wait a minute, we just saw a reinforced weapon drop right there. Was that a crossbow? That would be huge loot early on. I believe Sven just picked that up. I didn't quite catch it before he grabbed it. I didn't see what item it was, but reinforced anything at this point in the game, that is a really lucky drop. Yeah, this really goes to show how weak everybody is at the moment, because there's so much contest over the resources to create your gear. It's taking the players so long to take out these mobs that they can barely keep up with the spawn in the camp. And look, the bear has resorted to fighting the trapper, a battle of gods, while Enoris over here is going to go ahead and sneak up and take the bear kill after it took about 40-50% of his health from that NPC. Keely now is left alone, so we potentially see people ganging up on her now. We do have 18 minutes left on the PvP protection, but keep in mind, even with the PvP protection, if you hit an enemy with the PvP protection, it will still block a projectile, so if they're getting in each other's way, it's going to be harder to kill her. I'm surprised we only have this many players over here. We've got 3 teams. I think there's a 4th team, yeah, separate player over here.
Madness.
I'm really surprised I don't know where their teammates are. Maybe they just didn't get in the server. Oh, they finally got her trapped in the tent. This is perfect. Yep, that's the only thing you really got to be careful of. Now you get her in the corner, you keep her trapped. Don't eat those frost bats. Look how little damage they're doing. It's tickling.
As we mentioned, this is a drop-in, drop-out tournament. I know a lot of you are waiting to get in. You wanted a password protection and whitelisting and RSVPing. That will come in the future. This is our first ever Duos Cash Cup, and like we mentioned, you can always join later and come back to win. You can play those rat strats, get some big kills, and tier up. So for everyone who's in the tournament, welcome. And everyone who's watching and waiting to get in, this is how you're going to be doing it. You're going to be watching, getting better, and strategizing with your duo partner as everyone tries to get in. This is way more popular than we imagined. We now have 60 teams signed up in order to try to claim that $300 cash prize. So thank you all for joining us. Sorry for the mix-up earlier, but we are out here doing all the things all the time.
Keely is almost dead, so it looks like these teams are going to claim him. Now, the thing is, because they're fighting her in the tent, if you're outside on the road right now, you might not catch this. You might not be able to see. So she is down. I don't know if we're going to have any last. So look at this. We do have somebody sneaky up last second to get it. Is he going to get in time? No.
He's got to get out of wolf form. He doesn't
He can't get out of wolf form. No.
So many players do that.
Oh my goodness! By the skin of their teeth. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
10 people at Keely and only 6 got to drink from her neck that delicious V-blood. Right now I've got some tea going with 100% worker blood in it, so we're popping off here and feeling good.
Wow.
Let's head over to Clive or maybe a Ferocious Bear and see if anyone's going for that.
No,
we have
you think so this early?
A few minutes. I think we would have players grabbing a horse and just going for it.
All right, let's take a look. We're pretty close by. We're going to head on over to the bear and take a look. I mean, we see a lot of players kind of running away over here. To the south, they might be heading for Gore Swine or another NPC nearby, looking for more of the V-Rising blood.
Look at you, just have players everywhere. Molk looks like he's just trying to get some hide to finish his set. Maybe he just killed Keely, and so he's starting to have the idea to place his tannery down and get some leather churning out, right, and some planks to build that base and start gearing up. These bosses are much harder than usual, and so you're going to have to be in that Night Stalker with that copper weapon, especially when your PvP protection timer falls off, and that's really where we're going to see a lot of teams get ahead. The copper weapon, the Q is deadly, especially on the spear. If you catch them in that combo and then recast at the end, that's going to be 50% of their health deleted.
Oh, it looks like we had a bit of a disconnect there.
Let me take a look really quick at G-Portal. We just have so many players trying to get into the tournament. We're actually capped out right now with 63 players out of 40.
63 out of 40. People are very excited to get in and compete. I do love this. The early game rush is just so much fun. All right, we are having a bit of a server issue here, guys. We're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. I am manning the stream while Strange gets everything taken care of on the back end. So he is paying attention to that stuff. I am sure he is being inundated with about 1 million DMs right now on Discord, so stand by. We're getting to it as quickly as we can. Somebody throw on the elevator music. Okay, actually, you know what? It looks like we're getting in. Ooh. That's quick. I thought we were dealing with the server actually shut down there. Okay, we are loading in. And you saw we already had some people starting to set up their castles. I loved that setup.
And stupidity.
Okay, it looks like we didn't really lose anything here. No progress was lost. Everything's sort of still set up. I need to go ahead and off admin again.
Madness and stupidity.
And we're just hanging out here in the cave with the ferocious bear. It looks like nobody is coming for this just yet. And would you want to deal with this? 36. It'll be a little while before people are able to take care of this, but again, we saw, you know, the players at a level 10 were able to take out Keely because they just worked together, level 6 to level 10. So as people get their bases established, as they start to unlock more of the recipes, we are going to see people kind of taking more and more risks. But again, because this is Merciless, you die, you lose everything. You drop everything. So you really have to consider the risk reward. And the big thing is this early on, because there's so much stuff being contested, it's difficult to have a stockpile. So if something goes wrong, you can't really fall back on, you know, loot that you don't have. Nobody has a stockpile of bones to make more reinforced weapons if they drop them. And killing a player and stealing their reinforced bones is going to be huge. It does look like we were waiting for players to get signed back in. So stand by while we deal that. We're just going to go ahead and hop around. We already have somebody claiming this. Huge copper. If they can get Clive down and blow this up, this is such a huge amount of copper. These two right here is going to be something like 700 or 800 copper.
Madness and stupidity.
Nobody in the copper mine just yet. Wait a minute, we do have an open chest here, so that means somebody might actually be here. Yes, we do have players in the copper mines already. Look at this. Necro using a spear to chip away at these copper nodes while kiting Errol. Dodging everything so far. This is very interesting strategy. Any hit is going to deal a lot of damage here, so this is pretty dangerous. But the payoff is really big. Being the only person in the copper mines right now, this is huge for Nero. And look, already level 13, this could really help them get ahead. He's really got to be careful of Errol, though.
All right, guys, I am back. Nero back onto the server. We know that he is god tier at PvP. He had one of the unique souls and the Merciless solo cash cup last week. and was absolutely trying to siege Admiral, who had the Soul of Solaris. So we have players out and about. I apologize, I'm talking with G-Portal right now, and we've increased the amount of players who can get on the server temporarily. We are going to have a massive influx of people trying to join the server, and I know that a lot of you want to put a password on it, so we will do that for future tournaments. But for now, as we mentioned, this is open to the public. Drop in, drop out format, but you must sign up via Discord at discord.gg/eclipsegaming. We've got the full rule set as well as the sign-up sheet. Just tag yourself for V Rising. And welcome to the $300 Duos Cash Cup. We see some players employing some crazy strategies.
I can't believe
they're all racing.
Nobody's down here to stop him. 11 minutes left on the PvP protection. He's just gonna get away with it.
He mostly wants that copper. He sees the strength of Errol, and he's not sure it's worth it at this point.
But look at how much he's already cleaned up. Not to mention, he did get some chests up here. So this place is already completely clean. He's gonna be walking if he can get out of here in time to get a base set up. This is the dangerous part. And Nero is 13, so he's pretty strong right now. But while he's doing this, people could be upgrading their gear. They might get a potential reinforced drop like we were talking about in the bandit camp there. Those reinforced drops do give you a little bit of a power spike here. He's going to be in a lot of trouble if he can't get a base set up before people get before this protection falls off, because all that copper. Now, of course, nobody's going to know he has it. But can you imagine, just for a second, imagine with me, you're walking along, you see this gentleman kind of run down the road by himself. You and your teammate decide to jump on him, and when you kill him, he has 2,000 copper on him.
Stupidity.
That would be a huge come up, and I think we've never really seen that in a tournament before, but now I think players are starting to realize that when the PvP protection falls off, especially if players do not have a base down yet, they're going to have all of their entire lifetime worth of mats on them, right? All those materials are up for grab, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some players horse lording around and waiting at the end of the timer just to try to kill someone who's further ahead. And right, we still have players who are joining who couldn't get in before, who are now in, so they're going to have a longer timer, and so they can drop that PvP protection flag by typing /PvP in the chat, right? Disable that early, and if they can secure a big kill here at the start of the server, they could easily advance themselves 30 minutes or so into the competition and just get all the materials. A kill on Nero right now, it seems to me, based on what we've seen, that Nero is for sure one of the strongest players alive at the moment, and so a kill on Nero would put you very far ahead of the majority of the player base.
We're gonna go ahead and just take a look over here to see if anybody has secured a horse. We do see 1, 2 horses, 3 horses back there. It doesn't look like anybody's rolled up into this camp to grab the horses yet, so at least for the time being, we don't see anybody on the roads here. We're just gonna go ahead and pat down, looking for players on the way, because I do think that is, like you mentioned, horse loading is a viable strat if you can just kind of hop around and wait for something to happen. You are at risk of getting knocked off of that horse and having it stolen and just getting rolled up on, but having that mobility, I mean, it's just so fast. Even the wolf form has nothing on the horse.
Let's teleport to Nero real fast and see what he's doing. So if you pull up the console and teleport to player.
Madness and stupidity.
Let's follow the progress of Nero, who should be going for a base now. The sun is out, so this is a dangerous time to be alive in the early part of this game. So as we come closer to the first ever admin event, like we talked about earlier with the Scourgestone Bandit, that bandit will have sun resistance potions on them, as well as rose brews and a number of other early game items. So we're essentially airdropping in some beautiful items. So we're going to see a lot of players trying to compete for that.
Oh no, he's got Tristan chasing him. It's not that hard to get away from Tristan, but if he runs into somebody else, he's lucky he's still got that flag, that flag for PvP protection. He is gonna slip away, but you can see as he's rounding the corner, I'm just like, oh no. Not like this.
You know he's panicking a little bit. He thinks, oh god, I don't want to fight him. And Tristan does have a long leash range, as we see here. So pulling those wolves there, not the best idea. And so you're gonna have Nero running away.
Actually, this might have been the big brain strat, because Tristan stopped to deal with the wolves. He leashed them. All right.
If you can pull something onto Tristan, you can beat him early in the game. I killed Tristan at level 20 by pulling Alpha Wolf and Lydia over, and so you do have all these weird random elements in the game inside the player versus environment situations where bosses kill bosses and players just hang out and choose one of the bosses to help, effectively teaming. So I think we're going to have Nero going for a base right here up these stairs. This is a good spot for early game, as well as the top of tier 1, especially next to Quincey.
Yeah,
you're going to have some wonderful spots to the left and right of the Bandit King.
Yeah, you've got the trapper camp over here, so you can get your coarse threads and everything early on. The whetstones are available right up here. You're not that far from the copper mine. You've got the logging camp down here, and of course the Forgotten Cemetery nearby. You can pick up these morning lilies, the grave dust, all the bones is very important early game. So yeah, this is a great spot.
That 9 item level ring is a big come up early,
yeah.
and that's just grave dust and morning lily. Let's jump over to Iron Mine really fast and see if anyone is just trying to loot the chests and crates, because using that 30 minutes of protection time to try to get some interesting items could get you ahead much later in the tournament. We've also seen players in the past in the solo tournament just go to the cotton farms, and even though they can't gather the cotton, they're opening the containers and robbing the peasants of all their lively possessions to try to get, you know, some cotton yarn or some cotton just to secure their spot in tier 2 later to make that hollow fang, and then later their dawn thorn.
Doesn't look like anybody's snuck up in here just yet. There is, of course, a lot of danger getting into this cave. There's some damage being done here. I believe this is just from the hellfire there, the fell flames that pop up and damage the rocks around it. Or it could have been some combat if the light archer was walking through here taking care of some business, as it looks like that did in fact happen.
Yeah, but you can see that the Hellfire is actually breaking some of those ore deposits. So you could definitely have players just zooming around on a horse, trying to pick up small batches of sulfur and iron ore. And you could see the same thing in other parts of the map. We know that there's a strategy to go straight to Silverlight Hills and go out to the docks in Brighthaven and just loot the chests and barrels to give yourself copper bars, ingots, and iron ingots, and basically all your tier 1 and tier 2 mats, will drop. And if no one else is there, you can effectively free farm for hours if you wanted to, and then come back when the majority of players have left tier 1, right? It gets safer over time in some aspects the later we go in the tournament, but then you also have higher level players on horses roaming around ganking. So you just have this level of play where what you should be doing and what you want to do don't always match up. And at least for me, I like to go out in PvP, even if I'm not progressing, at least once every 30 minutes, just to get some fights, get that adrenaline going. Here we have a lot of new players, right? So because of the server restart, we have a lot of new players diving into the tournament. Duelist partners are trying to jump in, and now they too need Alpha Wolf. But for that first wave of players, their PvP protection is about to wear off, and we're going to see some big fights, some horse lording, and base raids happening as our first players get zeroed here in the $300 Cash Cup, sponsored in part by Stunlock Studios.
Yeah, Lorik. Oh, wait, just a second. Was this an intentional lure from Lorik? We have Tristan already causing chaos on the battlefield. The Alpha Wolf is super low, but do you really want to risk Tristan being this close? I mean, you can get...
Not at this stage. I think Tristan is going to one-shot someone here. I would definitely guess this will be a one-shot if he hits anyone. Tristan is a very high-level tier 2 boss. Militant at 17, a death here would definitely zero him out, right? None of these players have bases. This is what we're talking about. If you die here, you will have lost everything.
Did you see that? He was holding down F to get that drink, and he got the iframe at the last second as Tristan was about to split him in half. And look at everybody scatters. I can't believe they all got out of there. It was just the luck of the draw there. Tristan managed to target the right person at the right time so that everyone was safe. I am shocked that nobody died there.
I am also shocked, especially Lorik at 1.
Yeah, he was 1 HP. He was about to get hit. He was the one that got the iframes. That was ridiculous. All right, so they all scattered. We're gonna head over and take a look maybe at the bandit camp, because the trapper camp, because as you mentioned, this is kind of like a wave. We got wave 2. We're gonna see this throughout the tournament, guys. This is gonna keep happening as people come and go throughout the day. You know, we're not gonna have people on 24/7 IV sitting at their computers getting the water drip. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life, but don't do that.
And that's what we're talking about as well, right? By not password protecting the server, we're actually allowing a large number of new people who this might be their first time in the competitive scene, and they're excited to come out here and support us. So I understand the need to want to have a password, but at least for these first few tournaments, it's good just to get the word out there and give everyone a chance, especially because as we've seen for servers, especially the official servers, the population tends to move to new servers pretty quick. And so we're trying to level that out and force players to stay in tier 1 for longer, tier 2 for longer, and get more of that community and those beautiful fights that we're going to love to see here in the next 15 minutes with the PvP protections dropping off. We want those big fights and those battles, and we want to give everyone an opportunity to succeed.
And look, we have some people levels. We saw Bane over there was level 18, and this is really big. I was talking about this a little bit while we were waiting for people to reconnect. Getting control of these two nodes on top of hills across the different areas early on is huge, because that's like 800 plus copper if you blow those both up. We have players already level 18, so we're going to be thinking about maybe seeing people move towards Clyde, but with 2 minutes left on the protection, this is now the base race scramble. We see people already kind of, we see these teams already putting their bases together. And if you're by yourself right now, the Norris over here, farming up some wood, farming up some stone, you got to find a place to settle down. We do already see, look at Vane's already got a big castle set up on top of being level 18.
Madness, and
this is a very good position for them.
And that's why I think that this game is so beautiful, because you have some kind of RTS elements with your servants and setting up your base and kind of micromanaging that castle in order to effectively go out and get things done. So at least for me, I tend to slow down once I've arrived back at my castle. And so you see people who are excelling in a lot of different parts. This big castle's already up. You see IHU Militant was out farming while his partner was setting up the base. And it's fun to see as well that we have a lot of workshops that are up without walls. So you could actually effectively use someone else's base here to get ahead of the competition and then just carry forward to save yourself from placing that castle heart. Because with 2 castles, you do have to be very strategic and consider deleting your base in tier 1 to move it to tier 2, right? As I've seen in the Merciless solo tournament, a lot of people were moving from tier 1 to tier 2, deleting their castle and then moving to tier 3 cursed, deleting that and then trying to move to Brighthaven. So it's just a great idea to have your castle next to the resources you need to progress.
Yeah, and especially on this western end, you've only really got Clive. There's not a whole lot going on this corner of the map. There is Pelora up here, but a lot of the action is all kind of centered around here. So you're going to see players fighting for opportunities to build in these areas. You want these mountaintops, as you mentioned before. When we saw a player building on this mountaintop right here and this mountaintop right here, there's so many things nearby, so many high value nodes, targets, and not to mention, like you mentioned before, just going out and fighting people every once in a while. If you get ahead and you just go patrol places, we've seen that before, where players will just kind of chill near a high value target or a boss that's required for progression and just snipe people out. You could steal their stuff and really shut them down. It's also about putting people behind in addition to putting yourself ahead.
And it's fun that you mentioned that, because you really have with these smaller castles, right, with only 30 territory tiles allowed per castle heart in tier 1, you've got players who are kind of trying to extend their dominion, right? It's actually vampiric now that we've limited how fast players can progress, and so they want to kind of claim some land as their own in these strategic spots. And at least on our server, you are absolutely allowed to base block compared to official servers and other servers. This is competitive play, and so if a player builds at the top of a mountain and another player builds below them and covers the choke points, like right here, if Meowmix cannot get to his castle because someone blocks off the bottom choke point, that is just the end for them. They're gonna have to break that castle down, jump off the cliff, and move. This is strategic play, and you have to use what you can get. So building at the top is never a good idea. It's always a good idea to build at the bottom choke points or close to the road, so no one can block you in. And I think we're going to see some players complaining about that here in the next 30 minutes as they get zeroed or base blocked. But that is just smart strategic play.
We have a little friend here keeping guard over the copper mines. I think that might be part of why they haven't started their build down here yet. Treant, while it's not the most difficult thing to kill, because most of its attacks are quite easy to dodge and its AI is easy to trick, it has a ridiculous amount of HP. And trying to kill this thing early is a big time investment. It's like an entire night to wipe this thing out, especially considering how low everybody's gear is right now. So I think they kind of just cut their losses here, said, all right, let's try to get this up as fast as we possibly can, and then we'll get a heart down there. It does look like they only used the 1 heart, and I gotta imagine with only 30 tiles, this can't be the whole top. It's gotta be like a few squares that haven't been touched, right? Like these walls are going to be blocking territory squares. You can't build on this either, so I'm imagining they kind of just patchworked across to get control of this. So we probably will see the second heart from the other player. Now, one other thing I actually forgot to ask you is how many hearts per player? Is it a single heart per player?
It is 1 single heart per player, so clans will have 2 castles max. And in tier 1, that's 30 tiles per castle, so you can barely cover, you know, with those 60 tiles, everything that you need to save yourself, you know, to actually create your little kingdom, to prevent yourself from being blocked in. And with that, let's dive over to
Speaking of
Clive,
which.
and we'll see if anyone's attempting the fire starter here, trying to pick up that beautiful iframe, in my opinion, one of the best PvP skills in the game. But with the duo setting, we're going to see some different skills coming out. Of course, the wolf snare from Pelora is going to be big and very important. And then also the illusionary dash from Pelora actually has plays here in duos. In solos, you see a lot of players all using the double dash from Clive just to get distance. It's also good for PvE, but here in the duo play, it's okay to let one person go if you kill the other one, right? So securing even one kill is going to be huge.
It looks like somebody might have already taken out Clive.
That is definitely looks like a Clive death here. So let's go take a look at Quincey. I can't imagine anyone's actually sulfured, you know, crafted a sulfur bomb to get into Quincey, but we'll take a look outside. Definitely we could have seen a player, let's see if this is open.
Nope, gate's still up.
Let's check the other side. There's 2 sides to enter. Over to the east.
We do have somebody kind of sneaking around over here. Oh, where did I just teleport to? Okay.
Went way east.
Yeah, wow, that was, Alright, so where's the second entrance? Ah, right over here.
There it is. Okay, so let's take a look at Ferocious Bear. So with Ferocious Bear, you can just get straight through into Quincey. And Clive, you are going to have to craft that sulfur bomb, that small explosive box. And I also believe, because of the way the tournament is set up, we're going to see a lot of players just making a ton of small explosives in order to try to zero players out here in tier 1.
We do have Ferocious Bear serenely enjoying the quiet cave. Nobody bothered to move in here yet. This boss, honestly, without certain V skills, can be very difficult to deal with.
Absolutely. It took me a very long time to learn how to beat that boss on a horse. And so I believe we're going to have a nerf coming up. Like we just saw this last week, a nerf to weapon skills. And so we're going to see a nerf for horses in the near future. If I had to guess, horse lording, you know, the reign of the horse lords must come to an end.
The balls on this man. I love the fact that this stuff happens with the NPCs. I know we're not watching a player right now, but we just had to watch that dude get absolutely slapped. It was mandatory, I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. We have a player, the AFK right here, Slinky on the side of the road, level 10. If somebody comes across this with 35% worker blood too.
He does have his PvP protection timer, so likely he just couldn't get back on the server due to the restart. And so that is going to be a dangerous part about the server with this many players connecting and this much interest in the tournament. It's getting overloaded. And so if we do have a restart and you don't manage to get back in, that is going to be risking your gear. So like we talked about earlier, this is a high risk, high reward tournament. You need to be going out naked in order to gather and to get supplies. You always want to have a backup set of gear ready, right? This is the economics of a hardcore game. You need your second and third sets in your vampire lockbox so you can wake up in your coffin off of death, put it on, and get back out there. Maybe even kill the player who had just killed you.
Yeah, and as I was talking about a little bit earlier, we did actually have, you know, we had a couple players go down right at the start, and they had nothing to fall back on. When there's so much contest over these resources, everything is being fought for because there's so many players crammed into this tiny little area. It's hard to actually get a backup of materials, like you mentioned, to create that secondary set, because if you do die, that's a big setback. But if you can give yourself just a little buffer, a little cover by having, you know, a stockpile of bones, leather, copper, all that good stuff, you can get right back into things, especially if you know where the team that killed you is. You can go kind of roll up on them and give them a surprise if you're close enough by. You've got the teleport from a nearby castle. If players have built at any of these way gates, they can of course get to them very quickly, teleport very quickly, get stacked up. That's another thing that we didn't really talk about, is being able to build near these is very important early game, because it does give you the option to just kind of drop in on players. And if you have one of your teammates like across the map, for example, and they're getting into a fight, or they get ganked, or they see a fight happening, you can instantly just head over to them if you're nearby on your castle. And then having the respawn in your castle with the coffin and being able to just make yourself new gear and then teleport out again quickly, it could really swing the tide of a fight if you can just kind of keep reinforcing the back line. We haven't seen, I don't know if we've caught any PvP combat yet. We are still really early on, and fighting is going to be really dangerous. But when we've got players that are already level 20, if you come across somebody that's like level 12 or 4, actually, wait a minute.
So here is another player on a different team. We have multiple players coming out here. So the PvP flags are off. We have a level 18, a level 0, and a level 20. And like we talked about earlier in our solo play, sometimes you don't want to take fights. Fighting this level 0 is not going to help this man, but now he will have a level 20 on him. But it looks like they're actually maybe on the same team here. Nope. I don't even think Norris saw Bacon, and Bacon's already at 75%.
Yeah, that Shadow Bolt connected from him. Really good job, Norris twice in a row baiting out that counter.
And Norris popping the salve as well. Bacon going for the heal with the V-Blood.
That's really big that he managed to get that off. Norris missing the Shadow Bolt. Unfortunately, we do have
Big
the Chaos Volley coming out.
Norris, a beautiful PvPer. He hasn't hit either of those counters. This is one of our first fights on the server, and this could easily become one of these players getting zeroed. Bacon missing the Chaos Volley into the counter, getting knocked back. So Norris has been outplaying him left and right, but they're still playing pretty carefully here.
Oh,
Here
wait a minute. Gray's teammate showing up. I was just about to mention. And the Norris has no backup because, as we saw, his teammate's level 0. This quickly is going in favor of Bacon and Granny here. This is a big turnaround for them.
Big counter could still have him take this. If he could get both players, that would be crazy. The sun differential coming out as well.
Ooh, good juke.
Nice jump off the cliff. Turning into
nice.
Wolf. The other player just used his Chaos Volley. I think we're going to see a Norris escaping here.
Wait, we do have Granny in the back end wolf form, so he is going to stay on his tail, but whether or not he can actually catch up, that's the thing. And Norris has to carefully think about his escape strategy here. Looks like he's going to go up the mountain here and try to jump off, and I think he has managed to shake them. No, they are still following. There's a base right here, but it's not going to get in the way. He's going to hop off the ledge there. And
he does escape, so a massive escape.
Wow.
And like we talk about all the time in these merciless settings, escaping from a fight is always a win. Always. You do not want to be losing your gear. Let's pop into the copper mine since we're here, and we'll see if there's anyone gathering some cotton. And Norris might be going in there for a gank, and here we go. We do have players who still have their PvP protection timer on, like we said. So you've got so many players at different stages of their lifespan. A player getting killed here by monsters, that's going to be a pickup for Triptych.
Yeah, he just... I mean, what more convenient timing could that be? He just walked up out of the top of the mine, picks up a nice stack of loot right there. Unfortunately, these mobs are a little too difficult for players at this level to deal with solo, so you see how there's a lot of loot in here that's going completely untouched. These boxes, you know, if you're not totally familiar with how the loot tables work for them, they can drop just about anything. There's a lot of very valuable stuff you can get out of these. Now, it is weighted depending on where you are, what will drop out of those boxes. If you're somewhere where the map highlights that it's got whetstones, you are more likely to get them out of boxes and chests there, but they can drop here as well. So you might see players getting those early whetstones, which are very, very valuable, as well as potentially even some copper ore. Just kind of giving them a little bit of a head start. It might be enough to craft like maybe one piece or get them progress on their quest chain. And you see Triptych, he really wants the stuff that's in this mine because it's very valuable.
Absolutely. Getting a copper weapon earlier is going to be the difference between dying or securing a kill in PvP. Let's jump up to Quincey really quick, and we're just going to continually check that, right? That is going to be the progress out of Tier 1. And so it's going to be very important to pay attention to Quincey. F-Bear is still alive as well. So here's Quincey. Let's see. Up on the hilltop here.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're having a little bit of difficulty here. There we go. It is by the point there. Quincey.
Still alive. Let's see if he's open. Hop down just a little bit. Now both sides are still closed. So we've seen speedrunners beat Quincey in 20 minutes flat. But here, 50 minutes into the tournament, of course, we had a little bit of a hiccup at the start, but you have players who are being more careful. They're trying to gear up into their Night Stalker sets, get copper, and probably even look for Merciless Night Stalker drops and Merciless copper drops. Let's pop over to Clive.
And avoid getting one shot by this guy.
The militia brutes are the absolute worst.
They are.
Coming out of nowhere, the shield... There's the gold chest looted, so you have players, maybe even some little rats running around, just getting all the chests like we talked about before in some of our past videos and tournaments. You have a lot of people who don't want to risk fighting the monsters because of how viable it is to gank you while you're distracted, especially if they can incapacitate you on a bomb. You're going to get killed, especially here at Clive with all these dynamites. Those dynamites are going to almost one-shot you at this low level.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. All these mobs, look at this. Look at how densely packed they are. And because of the behavior of a lot of these mobs, like these archers will run away from you while they fight you, and they'll pull you towards other mobs. You have to be very careful not to get lured in, because if you accidentally pick up Clive, you leash Clive while you're fighting these mobs, the bombs are everywhere. It becomes so difficult to avoid everything. And I have seen players die straight up just to PvE here because there's just so many things happening all at once with the different bombs and archers and trappers and stuff. It's this place is dangerous.
Madness and stupidity.
All right, let's go ahead and jump over to a couple different players, and we'll just see if we can find some PvP here. So let's teleport to player.
And stupidity.
We've got Nero immediately in a fight here. He's got his teammate with him. This is a 2 versus 1 against Bagels.
Ooh, no chance.
Nero on the horse, so the Horse Lord plays are coming out, and these players who can actually get 2 on the server, of course, are going to have a bit of an advantage early in the tournament.
And I think is that a copper sword I just saw?
We did see Nero gathering a lot of copper, so this early duo is going to have a big lead.
Oh yeah, they got copper swords. This is huge for them.
Absolutely huge. Another horse as well, so we have... Ooh. I don't think Meowmix sees that horse. He does. Okay, so we have a duo horse lording around. This is going to be one of the most dangerous teams on the server right now. We're just going to follow them.
They could literally just run around the server and just hunt people down right now.
I think that's their plan here. So they don't need to forward progress if they're forcing everyone to backward progress. Look at them chasing these mooses. So they're going to be looking for players who are trying to establish a base. They're actually going to separate here, which is a very high tier strategy, in order to find separate targets. And then because they have fast horses, they're going to be able to come together, right? And they probably are both confident enough here at level 20 with copper and horses that they could probably 2 versus 1, or excuse me, 1 versus 2. A lot of other people. Here's another player. Vayne trying to fight Lydia with Tristan,
Stone
level 21. And this is huge.
This is so big. If they could get the Stone Golem and Lydia on top of each other, this could be big. Look, they might actually
neither of them want to pressure this because they're afraid of getting hit there. They could easily get one shot by Tristan. They're making a tactical decision here to let Vayne live.
Yeah, that is the luckiest thing that could have possibly happened for that player. Managing to
Vayne
slip by.
Saved here.
Wait a minute. I think they know that Lydia's still on him.
They want Lydia as well. If they don't have Chaos Volley, they're going to want that. If you're a low-level player here, especially if you have your PvP protection time, Ron, this is going to be massive for you.
Boosnax still alive.
This is what we're talking about. All Boosnax has to do is hang out and wait. And if he can suck on the nick of Lydia as these 2 Horse Lords put in a ton of work, then that player is going to have a great start to their tournament.
And look, while they are doing a lot less damage on the horseback because they can't use their skills, they can't attack very quickly, they can't risk jumping off their horses and giving it up. But the thing is, Boosnax is sitting there waiting. He's going to get the Chaos Bolts, which is really big for him. That Chaos Volley is so powerful. Probably going to be getting a nerf, if I'm being honest with you, because it's just doing so much damage, especially early in the game.
I agree, and we do have a little Chaos modifier on our rule set to try to help that nerf come into play. So your bonus to spell power from equipment is going to be reduced by 25%. So instead of getting a 100% spell power boost on the server, you're only going to get a 75% boost. So as you tier up and get better and better gear, of course it's going to help you, but we do have a small, equalizer there to help players, especially in the lower tier, fight players who are higher tier. There's Boosnax probably thanking them for all their hard work.
Is the Stone Golem still fighting Tristan? It looks like he is. Wait, we do have, is that another player?
That's Vayne. Vayne has actually come back, and I think that's going to cost him his life. So Nero on the chase and Vayne going down. Definitely not a smart play to come back to that, knowing that 2 Horse Lords just went by. An early kill on Tristan here would be huge. That's going to give you access to that greater...
The Blood Essence, yeah. So
greater
good.
Blood Essence. You need that for so many high-tier jewelry, and I believe even to craft your upgraded weapons. So that would be a big kill here. Also the Stone Golem, especially if Boosnax is still around.
Oh my goodness.
Boosnax, so he stole a horse, and he's taken off. He got Lydia and a horse, and he's feeling good. That was a little bit of a pinata. Look at Nero's chasing, hoping that something happens.
He's so mad. I mean, if he gets hit at all, he's getting knocked off that horse. Of course, it is very difficult to get knocked off a horse by NPCs. You have to kind of be autopiloting or just auto-running and not paying attention.
Yeah, Tier 2, it all changes, of course, with the Fire Archers and the sheer amount of Militia Brutes. Tier 2 is extra dangerous, so we do still have Nero up here.
Wait a minute.
They're making some plays.
They do have a spare horse, so this is actually very good.
So these guys are gamers.
They're gaming.
Let's go over to that sawmill and take a look at what level his partner is right here. Yeah, Meow Mix. They're both about 23, so they're moving up in the world. They're going to be looking for a Quincey kill here in the very near future in order to skip into tier 2. This is probably one of the best teams. Let's teleport to IHU Militant and see what they're about. You gotta push tab there. Indeed.
Wait a second.
There's IHU Militant and his
what in the
teammate.
world?
What is going on here?
Why are we all the way up here?
We have players going for snow bases in order to stay away and make some plays. His teammate there, I believe, is level 0, I think is what Zombie is.
It looks like it. I think he's just claws only. He must have lost his gear, but Lucho doesn't seem to have any way to really get out of this.
Lucho hanging out, trying his best. What he would need to happen here is for the sun to come out. I think would be the only way he could survive this. So
or for them to
I think
disconnect.
what we're seeing here is players who are choosing a very interesting spot to place a base, right? Way out here in the hollowed mountains. They might also try to employ some weird strategy to kill the Frost Golem, right? Terror Claw early to secure that insane ult. That's going to be the Arctic Leap, right? So maybe they have an unknown strategy that I've never seen before where they just somehow kill Terror Claw very early into the server lifespan and they pick up Arctic Leap. Imagine 2 Arctic Leaps at tier 1. You're definitely going to be one-shotting somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Just walk
Plus
straight up.
The surprise factor.
Yeah, I don't know what tools they have under their belt if they are thinking about pulling that off. They got some kind of cheese strategy. They figured out some secret to the AI. But yeah, if they can pull off that kill, that's going to put them really far ahead. Wait a minute, is that another player or did we just... Oh, this looks like the teammate.
That is another player.
This looks like the teammate, the same color of the player that they just killed.
So this is what we were talking about earlier. Players going to weird spots early in the game's lifespan, like tier 3 Silverlight or Cursed Forest to put down that end game castle. So this end game castle in Hollowed is apparently a lot of players know about this, right? We have 2 full teams here who are fighting for control of the territory and they're looking to make some interesting plays.
Yeah, this is a very pivotal spot. If you look, there's 2 ways in and out of this. These bases are very defensible. It's really easy to know which way players are coming from and where they're going if they're trying to escape you. Not to mention, it's kind of proximity to very valuable resources. And again, like I mentioned before, having the ability to be nearby to things that are very important to players early in the game for progression and just go down there and kill them before they have a chance to actually get the kill on the boss. I am getting garlicked.
All right, let's jump over to Clive really fast again, and we'll see what's going on with that. So we do have multiple players on the horses now. Here is someone fighting Clive. This looks like it's going to be a ground fight, or does this player have a horse? Yeah, we have a horse lord here.
Is this Nero?
This is the strategy.
This is Aura. Yeah,
this is Aura. This is one of the players who competed in the Merciless Solo Cash Cup 1 and 2. So this is going to be a really good player. I believe their partner is also Renson, who was the winner of the first tournament, and we don't see Renson, so either they couldn't get on the server or they're out doing something else and they've split. But this is very, very dangerous for Aura. He's horse lording and staying at full. But if another player comes and knocks him off with the sheer amount of monsters here, it could be the end.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's screwed if that happens. But this is pretty this is pretty funny to watch. We need some Benny Hill music going on here. While he's running around in circles here. This is gonna take a while, but he is slowly kind of whittling down all the mobs. I think if he can get rid of these at least, then maybe he can hop off the horse and just fight Clive. Clive is just so annoying to deal with, especially if you don't have a crossbow. But I gotta imagine
this is part of the open format tournament play. We've got a lot of players giving us feedback in the Discord. If your partner can't get in, you need to play safe and strategic, and when your partner comes in, remember they're going to have 30 minutes of protection, so that might be able to secure your team a Quincey kill, moving you straight into iron. So there are ways to play this where if your partner isn't in yet, you could easily come back from that and come in later.
He is committed to doing this, and so far it's going well for him. But look, sunlight is coming up. This strategy is going to come to an end here. I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep this up running through the light. He's going to have to sort of slow down if he wants to, because There is like a lingering sunlight bar. You can't see it, but as you take damage from the sun, you can step into the shadow. It doesn't instantly reset your sun state. So if you walk right back out, you only recover like a little bit of your sun health bar, I guess we'll call it. So this is going to be kind of tricky for him because not only does he have to deal with these mobs, he's now contesting with the sun as well. And like you said, if a player pulls up and just goes, oh, hey, taps him on the head, knocks him off his horse, that's a whole bunch of loot that player's about to get.
Thank you all for chatting, for following, liking, giving us constructive criticism and some love. We are going to be putting this footage onto YouTube at the end of this 2-hour cycle. We're going to be observing and talking here in the first 2 hours. And then personally, I'm going to be joining the tournament, hanging out. Unfortunately, my partner today, pro Apex player Bird, is at a wedding. So I will be playing solo as well for here at day 1. So here we have Flood. Is that
that's his teammate.
Partner?
Yeah, it looks like he's just fighting his way in.
Okay, so he's actually gatekeeping and hanging out to let him know if players show up. But he's getting pretty low, right? We talk about this all the time for the Merciless tournaments. You never want to be lower than 85% health, especially when fighting monsters, because if a player comes on a horse, this would be the end of Flood. Look, he's essentially one shot if someone has copper on a horse here, so he definitely needs to salve, and we're going to see him using the blood he just drank. Let's go back to Clive and see the progress.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's just trying to fight his way in.
That is his partner, so it's Aura and Flood. We have multiple duo teams, very competitive, highly ranked, and looking great here on the competitive scene. They're all over the map. They're killing it. You can definitely see some early risers like Nero and Aura and iHumilitant. They're out and about. They're all level 20 plus. They have horses. They're getting PvP kills, and they're killing strategic bosses.
Yeah, this boss really does make a big difference, especially if they're one of the teams that managed to secure themselves a mountaintop with those double copper nodes. If you get the bombs from Clive and blow those up, that's a huge boon to your economy, especially because this late into the run, people are now powerful enough to where the Bandit copper mine is going to be basically contested full time. So this is going to be big for them. Anybody that can get bombs this early into the game is going to be looking pretty good. And it looks like Flood actually managed to find a horse somewhere along the way, so they're going to be tag teaming. Oh no, Flood eating those bombs does get knocked off, but not going to take a whole lot of damage here as they are level 20.
So the strategy that we've seen a lot is actually to have one player fight the boss, 1 versus 1, and then have the other player gatekeep to make sure PvP doesn't show up. So here we actually have both players fighting Clive, and they're both injured. So if another team shows up unannounced, especially later in the tournament, if someone was a rat, or like we saw with Humilitant, if they had Arctic Leap, they're going to be coming in here and picking up these kills because they're not paying attention and they're too focused on Clive. So we have just so many different strategies and ideas. Maybe they feel like they're far enough ahead where they just want to drop Clive as soon as possible. Also, like we noticed in some of the Horse Lord videos, you can actually, instead of doing a full circle here as Aura's doing, you can kind of do very small half circles and do actually more damage to Clive.
Yeah, you can kind of just sort of use the tank controls of the horse to your advantage to just sort of rotate around him. Like you can also even do like a figure 8 around him. It is a little more difficult to hit him because of the swing arc, depending on what kind of weapon you have.
Definitely, but the damage over time is going to be a lot higher. Going around that column is the best strategy when all the monsters are alive, but now that they've cleared the ads, I think he could just start doing that figure 8 pattern. So we'll come back. This looks like it's going to take a little bit of time. Let's go to Copper Mine or Quincey, and then we'll head right back over.
Ferocious Bear.
Still a lot. Very surprising.
Untouched.
I think a lot of players are just going for Clive for the Merciless Copper.
Yeah, that Merciless gear really does make a big difference this early in the game. And again,
Quincey's still alive.
Look at this man.
This is going to be the most challenging part of the tournament right now for Tier 1 players, is getting past Quincey, especially as we've slowed progression down and the V-Blood bosses are harder with more health. So you're going to have to be very skilled. This is that competitive level of play. Not only do you need to be good at PvP, but you also need to be good at PvE. Let's take a look at Humilitants real fast and Nero, and we'll see what some of these top players are getting themselves into. So yeah, they are over here just grinding and building a base. Look, they've put both their castles down, it looks like. Let's take a look at the castles and see if this is theirs.
A little too far there. What
Teleport.
in the world? Teleport to mouse cursor. Where am I? Okay, let's just go ahead.
Yeah, you're very close. Yeah, you're there.
What? Okay.
All right, let's just go to Nero. They've got their castles down. This is looking good. These players know what's going on, and they're trying to absolutely get a kill here.
There we go.
On Terraclaw, I believe.
And
yeah,
look, they
that's
have
Milton, and there's his partner. So they've got their castles secured. They're looking good, and they're building. They've got the furnaces up. They might. You know what I just realized? There might just be copper.
A lot, yeah.
Inside the mountains, yeah. So they might have just found a good spot to grind and hang out and get some stuff done. And of course, if your partner hasn't made it onto the server, getting your castle down in a safer spot and just grinding up their sets is going to put you further ahead.
Yeah, Nero put himself and his teammate way ahead early on with that big copper grab, basically coming out of the mines with everything. And
3 furnaces as well. These guys are micromanaging very, very well. Look at all the boxes lined up. They're doing incredible. Let's jump back to Clive really quick, and we'll see them get the kill. Maybe another player shows up and picks that up. Obviously, if you're here with your player protection and you get to drink the neck of Clive.
Ooh, wait a minute. It looks like while we were away,
I think they got it.
They did actually manage to pick it up. I think I just heard the horse heading on out.
Yeah. All right, so we have multiple Clives dead right now, and players everywhere in Tier 1 spread out. We have at least 25 teams playing in this tournament. Obviously, you've got solos and duos, so more than likely, we probably have 30 or 40 teams out here in the server running around, trying to get some things done. There's still a lot of prime base locations open, but the majority of players have lost their PvP protection. Let's go ahead and just teleport around a bit, and let's check Coppermine. And then we'll teleport to a player, and then we're going to get our first ever admin event up and running. Killing the Scourgestone Bandit is event number 1 for the Cash Cup.
Ooh, wait a second. We have people at Errol as we speak.
Another team. We haven't seen them yet. This is another great duo here at level 20. Bongo very low, though.
Yeah, they're going for the earthquake. I personally don't find a whole lot of use in that, but it is actually a lot better at damaging bosses like the treant and the stone golem early than most of the other skills. Now with the chaos damage change, that may be kind of evened out, but this isn't the worst skill to get. And of course, if I remember correctly, Arrow also gives you access to the larger chests, which is very good for conserving space, making things a little easier. One thing that we haven't really touched on is the efficiency at which people manage their bases. It makes a huge impact on how quickly they can progress. If your base is a mess and it takes you 20 minutes to deal with things every time you get back to your base, you're gonna fall behind very quickly. So having that efficient base, like we saw what Nero had set up with the 3 furnaces, the double sawmills, making sure that they're all working overtime, you make that progress quicker, you get ahead of people quicker, you continuously build that gap. So Errol's getting pretty low here. Bongo is relatively low as well, but this is going to be dangerous if anybody else comes along. By the way, guys, let me know if the volume is a little too high for the game. I unfortunately can't change the notification. Strange, it is a little bit louder. You might be able to turn it down, but I'm not sure if it's just coming through OBS or not. But they did actually manage to kill Errol.
It's just coming through OBS. So yeah, unfortunately, we apologize about the follower thing. Actually, you could turn it off, right? You could just take that away. And I think that would make it better for everyone. So thank you all for the follows, the likes, the love, the subs, and all that good stuff, and for supporting the tournament. We're going to remove the alert box. Thank you for notifying us so that it is loud, even though I put it at 2%.
Madness.
So we will take the alert box off for now.
Even though I have it hidden, it's still playing, and I'm not sure if I can disable it because I'm using your stream key.
You can just delete it. Oh, it's my.
It's because I'm even when I didn't have it showing on the other screen, it was still playing the sound. That's why I thought it was coming through your OBS earlier. I think
we're sorry, guys. It's nothing but madness and stupidity today. Of course, with the follows, the likes, the love, and the little scuff start we had to the tournaments. But we're learning, right? We're trying to get the community up and running, and the competitive scene is definitely heating up. We're looking forward to hearing about official tournaments in the near future, as we know that Stunlock Studios is in official talks with Twitch about getting something up and running. We don't know how far they've progressed, and there's nothing officiated as of yet, but you could see how a Twitch Rivals tournament would be incredible, right? We get some of the biggest names from the Twitch community in here, XQC and Shroud, Dr. Disrespect out here as a vampire, and then we bring some of the best players in the world like Aura and Ren, some of the past winners of the Merciless Cup. You know, you get the Neros and the iHumilitants out there, right? Half celebrity, half skill, and we let the vampires just fight for supremacy of Varderon.
Now things are looking a little quiet over here at the Bandit Copper Mine. It's a nice peaceful evening as they have to fight their way out of here, but I have a feeling that's going to change very soon. What do you think?
I'm actually trying to log into the server myself so we can get the admin thing going, and I can't log in, so I'm right there with you guys. I've been spamming the join button. People love this tournament. They want to be a part of it, so thank you all for joining and hanging out and helping us as we kind of iron out the rule sets. Please give us feedback in the Discord. Try to keep it constructive. But it's looking good. We have people all over the place. Let's go ahead and check out. We know Clive Zed, maybe F-Bear. It's surprising to me that we haven't seen anyone kill F-Bear. Maybe the power spike. Wait, it looks like we have players actually there. Let's go back to Quincey. That might be a Quincey battle coming up. Let's drop down into where the monsters were and see if either side is open. No, so players are being very careful, right? Especially with their copper weapons. Getting killed right now, F-Bear.
Wait a second. We finally have our first contestants trying to take out F-Bear.
He's trying to solo F-Bear as well on the horse. This is going to be amazing if he can get it.
Yeah, super dangerous.
I think we would definitely see this player probably going straight to Quincey after this. Let's go outside and see if his teammate is gatekeeping. I think a 1 versus 1 against F-Bear is going to be the only way to progress here, because Ferocious Bear, with the power of multiple vampires nearby, would be horrible to fight.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive back in. Let's see if this player has figured it out. I'm not joking. It took me 6 hours to learn how to beat Ferocious Bear on the horse. He is an incredibly hard boss, and it only takes one small mistake for you or your horse to get killed.
Oh, yeah.
And if another player comes, that's the end of your inventory here. So this is such a beautiful fight because you can't really just pound on Ferocious Bear. You have to joust him. So here we go. Almost getting caught out there. Such a beautifully made boss. Even on the horse, it's very challenging. And if you get caught here by the enraged, that's probably gonna be it for him.
Madness and
yeah, the enraged is
at half health. He might go for a reset. Look, the horse is getting stomped on by falling rocks. Yep, he doesn't know how to fight him on foot. He's basically me. The minute I get knocked off the horse, I go, uh-oh. All right, let's jump over to someone else while we wait for him to reset. Let's check Clive or Nero or Humilitant. So many great teams out here just trying to get ahead of the competition early in the tournament. You love to see it.
Still down.
These players are building up. They want Merciless Night Stalker and Merciless Copper.
Look at this. I like this little setup they got going on here. No walls yet, so they don't, they're not really worried about the efficiency. Of course, when you get the floors and the walls from the castle setup, you do get 25% efficiency. Forge flooring is not guaranteed, though, so finding forge flooring early on could be a huge boost to your economy, but depending on how quickly they move along, they may not even need it. So it looks like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We've got another fight coming up here. Humilitant and Zombie Sphinx come across another player. I don't think Marcy was paying attention because it kind of ran straight into him, and he's quickly just getting evaporated. Zombie Sphinx and Humilitant.
Absolutely getting destroyed. This is where you see players start. I mean, he should actually use the Treant here.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
should just do circles around Treant and pray, because the Treant can definitely one-shot a level 24. And if he gets,
he's running up to their castle.
The cliff here. He jumps off the cliff, kind of kite back to that Treant. Maybe wolf form here, and he gets away. It's not going to be enough.
That's a huge loss for him. Running around solo in an area like this, you wouldn't expect to run into a team like that, but I guess this is, once again, this, like you mentioned, this kind of weird, wacky strategy that they came up with of coming up here into the mountains is paying off for them. They just have people coming to them.
Let's back to Humilitant really fast. And there is a second castle there on the mini-map, so let's look at the second castle and make sure that's that's their teammate's castle, because if that's Marcy's castle, then we actually have 2 players, or 2 teams rather.
It is Marcy's castle.
So we have 2 players who have the same strategy, and they're trying to figure out how to progress. Right now, Marcy's on a 30-second cooldown, and if she dies again, they'll be on a 90-second cooldown. So this looks like maybe a solo player, and you have only half the walls up. So this player is absolutely at risk here of a horse maybe getting in here and stealing all of their loot, but look how progressed they are. That was a huge loss there at level 23, but I think with the furnace, the sawmill, and the amount of boxes they have, likely they'll just be able to get back into their second set. But again, if you know what's going on with this strategy, let us know in the chat. You've got so many players over here. Maybe they're going to go for Terror Claw, right? They want the Arctic Leap. But let's jump back to F-Bear. All right, so this is round at half.
Doing much
Slinky
better
doing
this
a
time.
Great job here, much better.
I really gotta wonder where their teammate is, or if they're just straight up solo. If they could get this and then sneak into the bandit camp and take all the loot out of the chests, that could really be really big for them. Or if they could even just open it up so that it encourages other players to go in there and try to take Quincey, and then they can jump on and get that kill. That'd be big for
Definitely,
them.
and if their second player is getting copper, right, then this player kills Ferocious Bear, they get into a copper set, and then they're going to be going for Quincey. So you do have the strategic splits, getting stuff done and making some big plays.
Take a look at the copper mine real quick. It does look like arrows respawned, and most of the nodes are back as well, so nobody's been here in a little bit, but we can definitely expect to see players in here very soon. Now, if you didn't notice, of course, we had some players that were starting to approach the 30s. We saw somebody that was like 26 or 27, so pretty soon we're going to see players starting to think about heading over to that haunted mine like you mentioned earlier. What was the coordinate for mine? Is it 1111? No, that's Nicholas. Wait a minute, do we have players here? No.
Actually, Nikolaos would be very big. We know that the Ward of the Damned is one of the best PvE abilities in the game, but Nikolaos is the start of Tier 2, the end of Tier 1. Killing Nikolaos is going to give you access to the Tier 2 study, so you're going to see a lot of Tier 2 players have to come back here, which is interesting, right? They've done a great job making players at the next tier have to come backward at least a little bit, and so you do have that cross dimension of the Tier 2 players fighting the Tier 1 players. And then, of course, your base location, like we mentioned earlier, is so important. You don't want a bad base because you want to be able to get the resources home very quickly. So you're going to see players putting bases at Iron Mine and Copper Mine.
Meredith doing some work.
All right, let's jump over to Clive, and we'll take a look. We're keeping this running. We'll take a look at Slinky again here in a little bit.
Madness and stupidity.
Clive, no respawn just yet. Oh, there he is, actually. He is alive. Let's just go ahead and just take a little sweep around here and see if any players are approaching. This is the point where we're going to expect to see a lot of players going for Clive, so I think we're going to see, in the next in-game day or two, we're going to start seeing some fights breaking out over here, because this is sort of, you know, you have the option of going for Clive and looking for copper, as well as opening up the Bandit King's camp with that bomb, versus going for Ferocious Bear. Speaking of which, let's see how Slinky's making out over here. Ferocious Bear is almost dead, but Slinky
Doing
seems
incredible.
to have taken a hit somewhere.
That is 10%. Let's take a look outside, and we'll see if anyone's waiting. Maybe he didn't notice, but if we have players waiting on the outskirts, right, they could come either suck the neck of F-Bear or maybe pick up a gank plus F-Bear. That's the best case scenario. Like we saw in the Merciless solo tournament, you have a player who was fighting Quincey, getting killed, losing all their gear, and then the next player equips their gear on the spot and finishes Quincey. That is F-Bear for Slinky. The Horse Lord has won out today.
That's a really big win for them. If they can pick up the bandit camp and start working their way up toward Quincey, if they have a teammate that can support them, we might be able to see a Quincey kill really early. Now, dealing with Quincey at this level without a without some of the later skills, like you mentioned, the Ward of the Damned. I personally also love the skull projectiles that he has, because of shotguns. It gives a little knockback. It gives the amplify. A lot of really good practical uses for it. Nicholas definitely giving you some really good skills, and also, like you mentioned, that tier 2 study. If they can pick up maybe the kill onto Quincey with crossbows, that they can just kite around.
Stupidity.
Getting in there at the perfect time at night, maybe sneaking past some of the mobs and just get in and out as quick as possible. That could set them ahead of everybody else, despite the fact that there are some teams like Nero's team, which we'll go ahead and jump over to, who are pretty far ahead at the moment. And it looks like Nero actually... We just missed Nero dying?
No, I think he just jumped out of his base. Let's take a look at Quincey.
I teleported to Nero, so either he's offline or he died.
I think he's in his coffin. Yeah, he might be taking a break. I mean, they have a beautiful head start here, so they're in a really good spot. They're hanging out. Now we're about an hour into the tournament, and it still looks like we have no Quincey kills, so you can really feel the competitive nature of the tournament, and the fact that the V-Blood bosses have 120% health and power is going to make progressing very dangerous. So we're keeping it interesting and keeping it alive.
Copper Mine still relatively untouched. It's been very quiet in this neck of the woods. I gotta wonder what some of these players are up to, because I know there's a lot of people nearby. I think you just have
bases everywhere. I'm pretty sure the majority of players are just safe and they're in weird spots, or they're making strange progressional plays. We're probably gonna have a lot of players out in Silverlight.
Yeah, let's take a look
actively
again.
Putting a base down.
We'll take a look again at Humil. take a look again at Humilitant and see if anybody else has gotten up there. Now, like we saw that they did end up taking out a player, and honestly, look, they haven't even really left this area. They're just kind of, they're making this whole mountain their home at this point. They're just kind of patrolling around, getting all the resources here. It seems like they haven't had a need to leave because they've been able to get copper, they can get sulfur. I think they already have the Quincey kill, if I remember correctly. But yeah, look, we do still have
madness and stupidity.
We do still have Marcy's base right here. I don't think they're gonna make any attempt, or well, I guess it's not siege hours yet, so. Okay, the teleport doesn't like it when I go off that side of the mountain. Militant's teammate not at the base at the moment, so they may be out gathering, but this is still such a good setup for them, and they have room to expand up here. They've got some sulfur, they've got some copper. This really is a really good setup. I'm honestly surprised. I guess I didn't really know about how good this spot is, but they're pretty well off over here. So let's we're gonna head up into the Dunley Farms here, take a look around, see if we can find any players. We should start seeing some people kind of wandering around in here. I don't think we're gonna have anybody going for the Tailor just yet, considering Quincey's still up, and this is a very dangerous area to be in with that item level, especially with all the paths that are around here. There are some bosses that kind of wander around.
Madness and stupidity.
These areas are, you're going to see a lot of players kind of getting bottlenecked in here trying to find horses, and I think we'll see a lot of fights breaking out here near Quincey, near Clive, sorry, we're going to go back over to once again to see if anybody's there. And it sounds like we might have players getting ready to break in.
Yeah, we see a lot of monsters leashing here. So definitely players trying to make some attempts. Here we go. So you have these teams. You're seeing a lot of new and different teams as well as solo players who are trying to make some big plays. This player is actually only level 10. I think they're going to be trying to make a chest run, but they're stuck in a corner. I've gotten my horse stuck there many times. This player is very low. Man. So they're trying to use the dynamite, right? If you attack the dynamite as you ride by, you can actually kill a lot of monsters. You probably just killed that entire pack back there with the triple dynamite. So you do have some dead things over there and an unsullied heart on the ground. So for sure, it's interesting to see this level of competitive play. You have a lot of players who are making short, quick adventures to these points of interest, like the copper mines or the sulfur mine, and they're just trying to get the chests and get back home. So we are seeing the economics of hardcore really play out here. This is essentially Escape from Tarkov, where players are just going in naked, and they're trying to make small plays in order to bring more loot home, right? That's low risk, high reward, and everything that they do is going to be to slowly improve and build up, so then they can take out one very powerful gear set and try to PK people. And so you are going to have a lot of players who are just killing each other, and even though you're not getting that much, you're preventing them from progressing. And that's the most important part. And then, of course, at these big bosses like Quincey, we're going to have the mainstream fights. We're going to have the big plays where players are at their highest level, and they're trying to progress through a tier. So we are now
just yet
1 hour and 20 minutes into the tournament, and we have no deaths on Quincey. So I think we've done a really good job bottlenecking the players into tier 1, forcing confrontations. And even though we're not seeing the fights, they're definitely happening as all these players are scattered across the map making resource plays. Let's go ahead and teleport just to a couple different players, and we'll see if maybe we can see a new team who's rising through the ranks.
Let's go ahead and just look for some random players. Let's see here. We'll head over to
madness and stupidity.
Furion over here. Does have a nice little base tucked away in the corner here. Actually managing to get this.
That's Iron Mine.
Yeah,
yep.
Managing to get this. This is huge. This is such a great spot. And you know what I'm actually curious about is if anybody's gotten this spot, because this might be one of the best places in the entire game to build if you're looking to defend those castle hearts. It is very hard to break into this spot, because once you set up your castle at the corner, you can then just basically block it off and look at things. It seems like Zeus might have had the same idea. You can block off this bridge. People can't build on this side because of the road. So if you wall up right here, you have this entire area. And I am honestly very surprised to see that there haven't been any teams over here taking advantage of this spot. Zeus is the only one. He's got this whole place to himself right now. I don't have his teammates nearby, but if he can get control of this and then his teammate hops on later. Oh, wait. I think we saw the castle heart. Oh my god, it's the teleport. Here we go. They do actually have a base here. His teammate is AFK, standing up here with the gate open. Hopefully nobody rolls up. But level 24, looking pretty good right now. It looks like there's
we have
some Merciless
teams. This is what we're talking about. This is different. You don't see this on fresh start servers or official. We have players who are just spreading out across the map and making very slow and executive decisions to gear up off in a corner somewhere before they make a huge play at Quincey. So you don't have as much intense tier 1 PvP because people are very smart. They're very competitive. This is the battle royale scene, right? You don't always have players dropping into the most popular points of interest because they don't want to get eliminated. They don't want to get zeroed out. They want that cash money and they want to kill the unique bosses. So what we're going to have is very, very intense fights at Quincey and Iron Mine and Octavian. And you're going to have players building those Eye of Twilights so they can see the unique souls on the map, and they're going to wait for other players to go for those unique bosses, and then they're going to try to ambush them after they have the soul, right? Let the other players do the hard work. And when you're carrying these unique souls, you get a massive debuff. You cannot use vampire powers or mounts, and you take increased damage, and you're slower. So the other players will see you carrying that soul on the map, and they will come ambush you, especially if they have bat form, right? They drop out of the sky, you and your duo partner coordinating, dropping out of the sky and popping Arctic leaps. You're essentially going to one-shot that player and be able to pick up that soul. And we saw that in the Merciless solo tournament just this last Wednesday, with Admiral, who waited for another player, actually Nero, to get the soul of the behemoth, and then he killed him while he was trying to carry that home. Because if your castle is far away from these unique bosses, you have to walk with a debuff all the way across the map. It's the perfect time to ambush and employ some crazy rat strategies.
Zombie Sphinx and Humilitant looking like the dominant team currently. With their base being in such a secure location, they look very comfortably geared. We've seen that they both have horses. They're kind of always moving together. They're definitely going to be some of the best players to keep an eye out on the majority of this tournament, I think. But as you mentioned before, this is an open format, so players are going to be coming and going all throughout. And I know players will see some of this and get discouraged, but listen, you see how quickly these players made progress. Somebody goes to, you got to go to bed sometime. You got to get off the game at some point. So when these players log off, the rat plays are going to happen. There's gonna be. Oh wait, we might have a fight here. Two very strong teams.
These players are in their best sets. It's about even right now. Good counters.
Ooh, big miss on the spear skill. Both actually missing there.
Yep.
We see the
Here
chaos
comes the chaos volleys. Zombie at 25%.
Double wide connecting with attacks on both of them. It is cutting the damage down, but look at how fast he just got melted after getting hit with that spear skill. Plus Alpha Wolf.
The teams are about even. Zombie wants to press here, using the Frostbat. Both teams are pulling off to get some heals off. Humilitant taking a Chaos Volley to the head.
Yeah, he's going to have to back off after that one. It is going to give them a chance, but the Skeleton Patrol walking up, interrupting their blood healing is actually going to give Humilitant's team the advantage here if they can get that heal started. But unfortunately, Zombie Sphinx
locked in combat.
Yeah, he
has
mobs
get the full
on
heal
him.
off.
They got to go ahead and deal with that. He's just trying to kite it away, but they have to kill this thing so that they can get the heal.
Look how low Zombie is. If the other team comes in here...
Oh, no. Here it comes.
If the other team comes back, they can get a win here.
Now, because
they're on the horse as well.
Yeah, because they're locked in, they can't get the heal up. And look, Humilitant's really low. That Frostback connecting.
Alpha Wolf taking Mexta down to 20% as well. This is essentially a 1 versus 2. Huge pickup by Double.
Zombie going down. Humilitant connecting with the spear skill, knocking off the horse.
The monster taking both Chaos Volleys. Here comes his teammate. Nope, that's Alpha Wolf. And look, he's actually in wolf form.
He's rolling up with the
This could be the
squad.
end for Humilitant. This is a 2 versus 1, double wide, iframing through the spear queue.
He does go down! Wow, just as we were talking about keeping an eye on this team, Mexta and double wide dominate that fight. It was looking really back and forth there, and they had to back off to heal. That skeleton pat pulling up to stop the heal looked like it may have been a disaster for them, but at the same time, Zombie Sphinx and Humilitant had mobs on them as well, and this Alpha Wolf is still just being a nuisance.
Crazy, the environmental differential here, the sheer amount of monsters and bosses that have interrupted this fight has just completely changed your strategy, right? You saw both teams pressuring, being aggressive, but then when you got an Alpha Wolf showing up, it's time to get dangerous, right? It's time to plan out and be careful.
Madness.
So let's go
What
ahead
a
and
crazy
and
play.
stupidity.
We're gonna
Teams
take a
all
look
over
at,
the map now, building castles.
I'm gonna take a look at Zombie Sphinx here, figure out what they decided to do once they released. They are still on respawn by the look of things, so they're not. I think they're
Yep,
considering.
they're gonna have to go home and get into a second set.
Yeah, with the resources that they managed to pick up early on, plus where their castle is, I have no doubt that they'll be able to quickly get geared back up. And that's the other thing, guys. If you join late, these resources here are going to be less contested because players are going to be moving to higher zones. It makes it way easier for you to quickly catch up and close the gap. And then, like was mentioned before, just one single rat play, a good decision in the heat of a moment when you come across teams fighting each other could put you ahead of the entire server if you get lucky. So coming in late, although it is it can seem very discouraging from the surface, there are so many ways that you can play smart, play safe, and get yourself geared up and actually in a position to contest the top teams.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us. And please, it is open format. Feel free to jump in as slots become available. This is a 1 week long tournament. It starts on Saturday at 10 a.m. So we're about an hour into the tournament's lifespan. And it goes until the Friday night siege window is open. We have 1 hour sieges every single day. That's your chance to zero out players, offline raid, online raid, and make some big plays, especially here in Tier 1. And we've seen how slow that people are progressing. So they're going to have wood castles, and that's your opportunity to kill Clive, create a lot of small explosives. It only takes a couple small explosives to get through a wood wall. And because people only have 30 territory tiles in Tier 1, that's a very small castle. You're going to be able to break in there, zero them out, and suck up all the loot like a vacuum and get back home, and you're going to have a massive come up. So it's never too late to join. Please join the Discord at discord.gg/eclipsegaming. Tag yourself for V Rising and give us feedback. All of the rules are there. This is a chaotic rule set with V Blood bosses having 120% power and health like we just saw. Alpha Wolf is not to be trifled with.
Yeah, the fact that they actually got rolled up on and had the... Oh, wait a minute. Are we going to get a Meredith versus Undead Commander fight here? I've never seen this happen.
Oh, that's a great one. It's crazy when Undead Commander wins. He's such a lower level. But let's also just quickly pop over to Quincey. We want to keep our eye on tournament progress. This is probably one of the slowest Quincey kills we've ever seen in a competitive format.
Both gates are still up.
Both gates still up. Teams do not want to pressure that, right? Because Quincey is so strong, you have to go in there. He's level 37. You need to have your Merciless Night Stalker set and your Merciless Copper weapon to be able to compete, especially when another team will see that the gates are open. And we've seen this in so many tournaments. The smart players and the competitive players just patrol on horse, waiting for someone else to open Quincey, right? We saw the player who killed F-Bear. When he turns into a bear and breaks into Quincey, all the other players who have been progressing are now going to go in there. We're going to have a huge fight at Quincey, and it's just going to pop off. In the solo tournament, we had 8 players fighting for Quincey. I was gatekeeping while I let Nero, who is actually participating in this tournament, I let Nero 1 versus 1 Quincey, and I just waited on the stairs fighting all 7 other players until Quincey got low, and then everyone went for it. It was just an absolute battle.
We do see Humilitant and Zombie are a little bit further behind than I think we anticipated, but I think it's because they hadn't converted their materials yet into things that they could craft. They're still waiting on it. We saw that Zombie Sphinx is level 12, I want to say. So he is going to head out with a reinforced bone mace to get himself some more copper. It does look like they are starting a little bit further behind than we expected. But wow, that was a really huge win for the enemy team that managed to pick off while they, again, I can't get over the fact that they had that skeleton pat pull up on them, and I was like, oh no, they're not going to get the heal off. Meanwhile, Alpha Wolf is still chasing down Humilitant and Zombie Sphinx.
Yeah, both teams being affected by the environment, excuse me, is just very interesting play. And additionally, like you said, losing their copper weapons there is actually pretty big. 2 copper weapons is going to be 32 copper bars, and when we convert that over, it's somewhere around 640 ore. So it is actually quite a loss to lose your copper weapons this early into the tournament, especially if you have a Merciless, right? Because now you have no gems and no copper, and that's going to take a lot. So by them dying, they definitely gave the other team a big advantage, as well as now that team has a second set, right? So they're going to put those sets in the Vampire Lockbox. Like we always talk about, this is the cycle of hardcore. You want to have a backup set waiting, and as we can see here, Zombie and his teammate, Militant, didn't have a backup set. So they went out in their best gear, and now they're going to have to spend some time re-gearing, and that is part of the Merciless cycle.
Clive currently has Mulks trapped in the corner, Admiral backing off to get a little bit of a heal. This is a really weird spot to fight Clive. Yeah, okay, they do decide to back out of there. It looks like they just kind of back themselves into a corner mistakenly. But level 24, they are going to be able to get rid of Clive relatively quickly. It shouldn't take them too long to get him down, but they need to be careful not to walk into this pat up here. Every little bit of time that gets wasted dealing with mobs is a chance that another team could roll up and take the kill, gank you, and then get the blood. And there's nothing worse than getting ganked right before you kill a boss and then watching the team that killed you get the sweet, sweet rewards that you worked so hard for.
Absolutely. All your gear.
Speaking of which,
and the boss. Here's a second team once again.
A third team,
Look
too.
At this. A third team. This is crazy. SkyT at half. Teskey, a beautiful play there, trying to step in front of his teammate with the counter to save him. You've got a Horse Lord here as well.
Yeah, Admiral being left behind as Mulk jumps up the horse and takes off.
Look at
seeing
this free-for-all,
PvP.
and you've got the dynamite going off. We're going to see a lot of players dead here. Admiral was our winner of the Merciless solo tournament last week, so we know he plays out of his mind, picking up all 3 unique souls at the end of the week during that last siege window. He won all 3 prizes from the solo cash cup. Now, you are going to see some players not want to push here, right? They don't want to fully push and wipe. They want to heal, and they still want Clive. They don't want to reset Clive here. You still have all 3 teams alive.
They're all so close to each other, but
Lots
look at how
of copper
careful they're
weapons.
playing it. This is exactly what I was talking about. That's so exciting about this game is that there's this objective that everybody wants, but dying is a huge setback here. You have to be so careful about this, but at the same time, you want this boss. You want the opponent's loot. Admiral's wearing that Merciless chest. That's definitely going to be a big upgrade.
SkyT is looting chests while everyone else fights the boss. Look, you have 3 teams gatekeeping each other. No one wants to engage. This is absolutely the highest level of competitive play that we've ever seen.
They're all being so careful right now. Admiral, unfortunately... Okay,
I think
Mulk,
Admiral wants a reset.
Yeah.
I think he's afraid.
I think so.
Here comes Mulk, horse lording through, getting knocked off his horse by the Chaos
No.
Volley. This could be the end. He's snared, right? When you come off your horse, you have a snare debuff, and you cannot use your spacebar iframe. So that is when players should be pushing. We see them getting on the horse. They might
Stick it
pursue
in the
this
corner.
now.
Nah, he's sticking it in the corner to keep it safe, it looks like.
Oh, actually, yeah, really good play. So even though it looks like Clive is resetting, if you do damage to Clive, the minute he resets right here, if they hit him, he will not regenerate his health. So you can strategically reset the boss, especially in a teammate setting, in order to keep that alive. And so I'm sure the other teams know that as well. So they're going to go reset to full health, and they're going to come back.
Yeah, this is not the end of this fight, I guarantee it.
And I wonder where the third team is.
Well, so that third team looked like they were relatively low. I think one of them was only level 14, so they're probably playing it extra careful, just sneaking around in the shadows right now as it is daytime. Not a lot of room. Not a lot of room to maneuver around here because of all the daylight in this area.
No, the sun differential, especially in this arena, is so challenging. Look at the bottom shadow there. If you're in that corner and they push you, you have nowhere to go. I have died here many times by getting burned to a crisp. You love to see these copper weapons as well. These teams are in their best gear. And even though it was quiet for a long time, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for multiple teams to make plays here. Mulk is going to go check the health of Clive. And they're going to want to push the other team when Clive is at about 10%.
It looks like the other team recognized too. They actually walked away immediately, not taking any chances. And it looks like Clive might have healed just a little bit there on the way back, but he's still really low. And like you mentioned, they're going to be looking for that opportunity to sneak up while he's low. Admiral taking a little bit of a chunk of damage there while trying to use that spear skill, but it's definitely worth it for how much it burns that HP bar. This
other patrol
is
so dangerous. Level 32 here. Getting hit by one of those arrows is definitely going to chunk your health down. So the slightest misstep and mistake is going to cost you your gear set in this Merciless setting. The horse is definitely going to die.
Oh yeah, it's done.
Here comes another. Here's Teskey.
It lives! The horse lived! I can't
Other players coming in as a horse lord. Admiral and his teammate are doing wonderfully. So we do have 3 teams here again. Let's go off to the side and take a look at where Teskey went. He might have ran into that third team.
Madness and stupidity.
Yeah, here's SkyT. SkyT and Teskey. Teskey won.
He named his horse.
So the third team is somewhere. Let's go up to the left here, and we'll see where the third team is at.
I think they backed off the south side. They went out this way. Ooh, whoops. Come on.
The teleport. There they are. We still have 3 teams here, so let's focus back in on Clive. They're gonna come. They want to drink Clive's neck, and Clive is very low. So right when Clive gets down near 0, we're going to see all the players pushing. And as soon as Clive is dead, we're going to see someone die. Teskey's one shot, and he's still going to go for it.
Okay, it's up.
There we go. Admiral's grabbing it.
This is where the crazy stuff happens.
Bacon's grabbing. We have 2 teams here. Sky Team needs to get on this. All 3 teams now have Clive. We're going to see a lot of PvP right now.
Look at the moves from Mulk,
make it out of here alive. One person immediately dying.
No, Mulk tried to loot it. He's going to pay for it. He's getting greedy there. He gets picked off for that. That was so smart of him to stay back and get the players low before the iframes activated for the blood drink so that he could finish them off as soon as it finished. And he did manage to secure 2 kills because of that. But then he got greedy trying to loot, and he gets picked off.
Look at Bacon. There's so much loot there. He can't figure out what to do while he's getting killed by patrols. And we have another player who's kind of watching this. The other player looks like they're going to leave. They don't want to leave. They don't want to lose their set. And it's essentially 1 versus 2 here.
Yeah, it looks like so Admiral is able to run back in there.
Play here.
He's
but
still
down
hanging
here
out
at the loot bags. You've got one team who looked like they wiped, and another team lost at least half their teammates. So Bacon and Granny, probably the largest winners here, coming out with 2 or 3 copper weapons. Look at all the GGs in the chat. You love to see it. Just so many players have great etiquette here in this tournament setting.
So I think, honestly, Admiral might just be saying, all right, let's cut our losses. There's no way they can carry all the loot out of there. We'll just go back and pick up what we can, and then we'll call it a day. And, of course, taking the gear that you already have doesn't really do anything for you unless you have the Devourer chest, and it really doesn't do a whole lot in terms of giving you materials, but just denying your opponents the ability to get their gear back is really the focus of looting up these bodies. So I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, I would say they probably took all the loot, and we do actually see Sky T, the one to be sneaking in here to pick up the loot, and there are some bodies still left here, so he might come away with something from this. I think Admiral's going to be pretty upset about that when he comes in. If he does.
So we are going to be I'm going to take a small break here and let Odin take over as I prepare for our first ever admin event. So just to go over the rules here, in 10 minutes or so, we're going to be spawning in a Scourgestone Bandit who's going to have a copper slashers, which you cannot craft. So some players will be getting a copper slasher weapon, which gives you access to that iframe on the Q and the invisibility. It's just going to be a wonderful weapon to have. And additionally, the Scourgestone Bandit is going to have a stack of Scourgestone, as well as some lumber, some stone, cloth, sun resistance potions, and, you know, just some basic tier 1 materials. And so what this is going to do is it's going to force players to decide if they want the Scourgestone Bandit or not. And so that's going to respawn in the copper mine in 10 minutes, and we're hoping it's going to draw a lot of players in a kind of battle royale airdrop type scenario. And so whoever goes for that is going to have quite the come up, and I will be playing that bandit. So I'm not going to fight players. I'm just going to iframe around. And so we're going to get that up here in just a minute while Odin takes over with the casting, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the event.
I'm very excited to see the chaos and pandemonium that unfolds from this, because we just saw that huge 3-way fight happening over at Clive. You got to be expecting that you're going to see most players turning up for this, because not only is the loot going to be worth it, Copper Slashers is huge, but it's also the first time we're doing anything like this. This is a very unique event that players have not been able to participate in, because this is under such a custom setup. This is going to be huge. I really do expect to see a majority of players turning up for this, or at the very least moving towards this location. So pretty soon, this is going to be the scene of absolute chaos. You're going to see red bags and bodies everywhere, and I'm very curious to see which team is going to walk away with all the loot. We've seen a few upsets so far, and we saw, you know, Humilitan's team went down. We saw that some other teams were engaged. Humilitan's team actually managed to take out a few teams prior to that. So I think people are going to be showing up here looking for their revenge, thinking about layering their strategy on how they want to deal with this. There's so many good places that players can ambush from. They can wait in the woods for players to be low. They can third party. This is where the Battle Royale feel is going to really start to come into play as teams engage and have to cooperate to get into the mines and take out the boss without killing one another, but also prevent the other teams from getting the loot and eventually killing the teams. Now, we haven't talked about how strong this Scourgestone Bandit is going to be, but as Strange mentioned, he's not going to be fighting anybody. He's just going to be iframing around and doing his best Live Lord impression. So It remains to be seen which teams will be strong enough to take him down. We haven't determined what the gear score is just yet, but he is going to be quite strong. So I think we're going to be at it for a little while. I'm going to pop over real quick, just take a look at a few places. We saw the action unfold here at Clive, and the team that came out on top getting the lion's share of the loot. There was some stuff left that T-Sky managed to pick up on his way out, but Admiral's team unfortunately taking the brunt of that loss. He did manage to survive, so not the biggest setback for him. Unfortunately, there was a team that did get full wiped, so that's going to really hurt. But with this upcoming event at the Copper Mine, this is the chance that people can take to rat and get themselves some gear. Keep an eye on what happens here. Players need to play smart here. If you fell behind at the start of the tournament, or if you're just joining the server now, you want to be at this Copper Mine because this is your chance to get ahead. And I definitely expect to see everyone from all around the map showing up for this one. Let's go ahead and hop up to Militant. Humilitant. Wait a minute. What? Okay. That was a bandit dying. I was a little confused there. But look at this. Humilitant and Zombie Sphinx basically right back where they started. They were, I mean, they had no gear whatsoever. Now they're back to 23-23, which is, I think that's where they died. So because of the resources that they built up, they were able to jump right back into it. And because they're strong enough to kind of just roll through the forest and deal with whatever, they can, yeah, they're going to come in here and farm up some materials, potentially look for some lower level players to pick off, try to steal some resources. I don't know if they've gotten Lydia just yet, or Keely. Let's jump over to Furion once again, see what they're doing over here. Nice and quiet.
All right,
still on
so
this
I'm
other
back
map.
for a little while. Let's take a look at Quincey again. We're waiting for the first team to kill Quincey, and that is going to set them so far ahead on this server, right?
Oh, the gate's open.
It is open. Quincey is open. Let's head up top and see what we see. I believe we're going to see someone 1v1 Quincey while the other player gatekeeps. This is Slinky.
No
Slinky,
way.
who killed F-Bear, is trying to solo Quincey. If another player comes, especially a duo, we're going to see Slinky absolutely getting wiped out here. He's only level 20, and all V-Blood progression bosses have 120% power and health. So to be able to kill the boss here is massive. Additionally, he doesn't have a horse. So he's just outplaying the boss here. He's got Quincey at half. You see, this is what we're talking about. These solo players have a beautiful opportunity to win, especially if they progress enough, right?
Oh.
Here's another player. I think this player would let him 1v1 here. I think he would. Oh, immediately jumping off. He's not even gonna wait.
Not even taking the chance.
This is actually a good play here because Quincey has so much health. The other player can come back relatively quickly, right? AK is not going to be able to drop Quincey here very fast, even as a level 27. Yeah. This is just absolutely incredible competitive play. I think we should just stay here and watch this one.
Trying to figure out where Slinky went off to, but I kind of want to go see if he's sneaking back up here, slinking his way in.
I think he's definitely going to slink back up. At the very least, he's going to be somewhere close enough to be able to suck the neck of Quincey, and then we would have two teams going into Dunley, getting into that tier 2 mindset.
I don't think we've talked enough about how big of a find this was for AK, because I have a feeling he was just kind of waltzing around and he happened to see if the gate was open. He's like, wait, somebody opened this. Somebody's got to be in here.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about, is you have these competitive players who are just patrolling around Quincey. We don't, like, AK could easily have not killed Clive or Ferocious Bear, and he's just gearing up, right? He's level 27. He's got his Night Stalker. He's got Copper. He's going to wait for another player to open the gate, and we have Quincey at half, so the more players who show up here, the deadlier this encounter is going to be. But whatever team manages to drink Quincey is going to be very, very far ahead in this tournament. They're going to be going to Iron Mine, and they're going to be progressing, maybe even going for Cotton. I think after this, we're also going to want to take a look and see if we have players who have bases up in Silverlight, whether or not anyone's employing some weird strategies around the map.
I think we've got a...
Look at AK. Is that a quarter? Here comes Slinky.
This could be huge if Slinky manages to kill AK.
I don't think he sees AK's health, else he would have pushed that.
I think they just did a little swap, yeah. AK said,
immediately
nope,
leaving.
I'm out. See you later.
Just genius. See, these are these players that we want to watch out for, right?
Stupidity.
This is that top tier play. They're knowing when to peel and when to reset, and they're not taking unnecessary fights. Slinky loves how much damage is done though, right? He's enjoying this. Now he's just back on the boss. Good counter there. Nice iframe. Slinky is definitely a crazy good player. Just not taking any damage at all, especially compared to AK, who was put down to 20%.
Yeah, this is a seasoned battle right player if I've ever seen one. This man is very familiar with his kit.
Absolutely.
Let's real quick. I want to go while we were waiting for Quincey to either kill somebody or die. We got a little bit of time. I'm gonna go jump over to the Copper Mine just real quick to see if anybody has gathered in preparation for this event, because this is a very opportune time for these players. Unfortunately, they won't get the loot from the Scourgestone Bandit if they're not there to kill him, but being basically uncontested to deal with Bandit King is pretty big here. Oops, one too many. Slinky's still at it. No.
He's getting low though. Now he's at 50 and we know AK is nearby. There's no way a player leaves here. There's absolutely no way you let this go. You want Quincey or you want the gank, or preferably both. And if Slinky or AK die here, that is going to be a huge setback for them. Slinky's 20, so he doesn't have the best gear. It looks like he also has a bone spear, so it wouldn't be the biggest loss for him, but AK dying would be absolutely huge, just narrowly avoiding getting netted there. I think Slinky should reset here. If we're speaking strategically, I think you just reset. Despite how much work he's put in, I think you go for a reset, because dying here would accomplish nothing and in fact set you back. Whereas resetting, yep, see, we've got another player here. This is probably a time for a reset.
Madness. Madness.
Was that a player or was that just a weird leash? It looks like it might have been a leash.
I think that was a player. I think we have a player probably waiting on a ledge nearby.
It's gotta be AK.
Or in a house somewhere. There's no way AK has gone here. Let's teleport to AK really fast and we'll see where they're at. Make sure we get two-player here.
Oh, well,
here he is.
We don't need to go to him.
Slinky absolute here. One shot. AK using voice comm.
AK's gonna chase him maybe? AK's chasing
him. He wants the kill.
Oh, that's so smart from AK.
Oh, this is huge.
The greed
AK
from
says,
Slinky.
I'll come back for Quincey.
Madness.
He's in a corner.
Oh,
There's nowhere to escape right there. Huge kill for AK. Just set Slinky all the way back. Slinky doing all the work. Look at that facial feature. That is a vampire if I've ever seen one.
It's looking like some Helsing right here. Dropping all the gear, just sticking it in a corner. I wonder if Slinky will run back to their body and find that gear. That could be huge for them. That's actually like that's almost like a nice thing for AK to do, unless they just didn't realize that potentially Slinky could just run back to his death site to pick up any gear that was left over. Now most players are probably going to leave it. Wait, is this Slinky's teammate? Where has this guy been?
This could actually just be a strategic play. AK could be so full of loot now, right? We don't know what Slinky had. Slinky might not even have a base. So AK could be so stocked with loot, he's just going to make a strategic play to run back to his base. And we saw that a lot in the solo tournament. Sometimes you just leave. You don't take every fight. Like we talked about earlier, escaping is always a win.
And so getting that full reset, I don't know if AK is going to bother coming up here to try to take this fight right now, knowing that the area is kind of hot. But Mulk is over here. What is going on? These guys are such a low level. Mulk actually just being basically the aggro target to allow Admiral to run up here. And look at all these teams opportunistically just jumping in on this. They saw the gates are open. They said, oh, somebody must be up here, or at the very least, it's probably available. The chests are taken. Man, if they had any idea that there was gear down there, they'd have no way to know. But if Mulk could go down there and pick that up, that'd be huge for them, because Mulk actually got all of his gear taken earlier.
Yep, and here's Admiral. So definitely you've got a lot of teams appearing now, getting ready for Quincey. And simultaneously, we have this admin event about to happen. So some players are going to choose to go for Quincey if they see it, and some are going to go to the copper mines in order to kill the Scourgestone Bandit. It would be a big come up for a low-level player, right? The admin will just have bandit gear, which is only level 2, as well as a copper slasher. So it's not going to be a crazy pickup, but it's definitely going to be fantastic for a new player.
Not to mention the Scourgestones are very valuable. While they may not do anything for the players right now, getting those Scourgestones early on will save them some time down the road and help them power up quickly once they reach that point.
Here we have Bacon and Granny, who were the big winners at Clive. Look like they're going for Nikolaus, but they're playing... they're getting kind of stomped by these skeletons, so they're both very low. One player, again, this is what we've been talking about. If you're a solo player and your partner hasn't arrived, if you come across these two players, I think you kill both here.
Yeah, this is very
They're
dangerous.
both 20% and in a corner. That would be death.
This is good for them, though. They are able to drop aggro and reset, and because they're getting out of combat, they will be able to heal up their blood shortly. It does look like the lingering combat timer is going to keep them from healing to full for just a moment, but the time is winding down on the Scourgestone Bandit, so we're going to check in on Quincey one more time before that starts, and then we're going to head over to the copper mine and see what's going on. I hear some shots being fired. I'm not sure. Wait a minute. Where is Quincey? There we go. He was blocked by the POV. Still players up here. Wait a minute. Admiral and Mulk still taking control of this mountaintop. I don't know where AK-47. Let's go ahead and teleport to him and see.
Let's jump over to the mine really fast. It's about to go down.
It's time. The Scourgestone Bandit is here. And look, we do actually have some players that showed up preemptively. Aura. Oh, this is a very strong team that we saw. Aura and Flood earlier taking out a team themselves and in a really good position with their level 27 gear. And here we have So Rat Strange, the Scourgestone Bandit, kiting away with his coveted copper slashers. Errol.
He's got a stack of Scourgestone. He's got wood and stone. Oh, PvP prot. Oh, that's hilarious. I actually dropped my PvP protection and took half damage. So the Scourgestone Bandit is already at half. We've got the Horse Lords. They have the best opportunity to win here.
The Scourgestone Bandit currently basically uncontested.
He's out playing.
Wait a minute. He's about to go down.
That is the death of the Scourgestone Bandit. So there's 7 Scourgestone, a stack or 2 of lumber, stone, cloth, bone, and salves are on that corpse, along with some blood roses and copper slashers. So we see Aura horse lording that and picking up a big kill. The first admin event has concluded. We'll see how many other players are here. We actually have another team. Aura's just gonna leave. He's got the loot. I think he's gonna call that a day.
Or maybe not. We got some jousting going on here. The Horse Lord diving in the back, tagging T-Gats. T-Gats super low while he's in that counter, just barely missing the attack. And now they're on the run, getting hit by the Chaos Bolts on the way out. This is gonna do so much damage. T-Gats goes down.
Both players sporting copper swords here. These are gonna be huge whirlwinds. They're gonna secure the loot bag. They don't need it. Another team has arrived to level 8 to show. He's picking up the loot.
He grabbed and dipped.
He's out here. What a rat. Let's go. Look at his levels.
Let's
are just going up on the spot. He's level 20.
Oh
Level
my
8
goodness,
to
he
20.
click take all, and he hits the horse.
Excellent
No way,
frostbite.
he gets him off the horse, he's leading him through the mobs. This could be huge if Vayne gets away here.
We want to see Vayne escape
He
here.
dipped
This
around
is
the corner, they don't know where he
incredible
is.
rat stat. Look at all the monsters.
They're gonna have to follow the mobs if they want to find him.
He's literally looting
this man's
while players
insane.
are chasing him.
He is an
What is
absolute
going
mad
on?
lad. Oh,
Okay,
he's...
the frostbat.
They're-
He might be line of sighting here.
Wait.
He's kind of going to get out of the way. I think he goes in the mine here. Yeah, he goes in the mine.
No.
He's going to try to get off and heal.
Way.
All the monsters in the mine are dead. This is a good opportunity for him to hide, even in a corner. And you could see where if a player had unlocked Rat, right? We're an hour and a half into the tournament.
Look,
if
he's
someone
gone.
has Rat form, they just hide in a corner. It hides your level and your health bar and name. Look at this beautiful play. This is the most tactical League of Legends type thing you could possibly see. He's absolutely using the line
He's
of
out.
sight
He
here
made it.
to try to get full health. I got to give it up for Vayne. What a play. What a living legend.
Listen, Aura got away with the Scourgestones and the Copper Slashers, so that's a really big win for him, but
This
Vayne...
is a win for many players here. Bagels had lost his teammate. He's sticking around, though. The Sun, look at how much the Sun is doing. So he's, I think we might see Bagels fight Vayne here. If Bagels goes into the mine,
Yeah, it might not be over
currently
yet.
Vayne is actually mining copper inside.
Let's go
So
check
now
on
that we have
Quincey
both
real
admins
quick.
here, absolutely check Quincey. Quincy alive.
Nothing.
I'm sure we had a big fight happen here that we missed during the Scourgestone events, but yeah, we've got, here's Trapula. We have at least 3 teams here right now. We've got Bagels, we've got the Rat Vayne
Look
with
at
the
the
incredible
sneaking.
strats going level 8 to 20 in a heartbeat. Look at he's getting the chest, he's getting the copper. This would be a massive gank right now if those Horse Lords show back up, right? We saw Aura get a big win there. I think they come back here, or they go for Quincey. We're going to see a lot of teams gatekeeping Quincey all the way until that. Here's the level 0.
Looks like his teammate. Oh no, it's just a random player. But listen, I respect the decision to just walk away.
Yep, here's Vayne. This is a one-on-one with Bagels, and another team is in the
Gold
back
chest.
there.
This gold chest might end up costing some of their life. Vayne actually stopping to take
Vayne
it in
is just
Bagels'
a
nose.
loot legend. Missing on the counter. They both have bone. Okay, here's Bagels' teammate. T-Gas is here now, level 0. He wants his gear back, right?
Yeah, Vayne did snipe his
T-Gas is the
gear.
one who Vayne full looted. If we see an iframe here, that looks like Vayne's gonna escape.
Wow.
Just an absolute rat. Just a rat.
Dude, TSM needs to think about picking this guy up. What's going on here? I cannot believe he got away from that. He snuck up, stole all the gear, gave both players on the horses a slip, snuck back inside the mine, took the loot, and still didn't die. What an absolute legend. Wow.
He is going to escape here. We love to see plays like this. This is the solo gameplay that we live for. Those rat strats sucking up some loot and just running away while other teams fight. So if you're a new player and you join the tournament, you're going to have 30 minutes of PvP protection. And the best thing you can do is suck Clive, suck Quincey, or suck up some loot from other teams that are busy fighting, right? A lot of teams in a 2 versus 2 situation are going to just kill one player, you know, try to peel and heal and then pressure. And so if you're in the back, especially with your protection flag, you're going to be stealing horses and loot all the way until that flag falls off here. And let's see. Look, Vayne sees that the door's open now, so he's going to go home. He's going to put the loot away, and he's going to come back.
Oh, wait a minute. He might not get the chance.
Level 0. This could be a horse for him as well. Look at that player's talking, saying, no, please, I'm naked. AK-47 at 0 here.
Thanks for the horse,
That's
chump.
one of the players we saw at Quincey, right? AK-47 got a big kill on Slinky, and now he's a level 0. Beautiful base location for Vayne. What a young god. Let's go back to Quincey while this player puts all their loot away. So AK got zeroed out, probably fighting Quincey. We've got tons of players in here. This is a fight. This is Molk.
There we go.
Double wide. So a lot of the same teams that we've seen fighting are still fighting. They're pressuring content and trying to get in some big fights.
Keep an eye on this mob right here, this stalker. If you get hit by this, if you get hit by that spear, it's the tier 2 spear skill. It will pull you into all those mobs. That's what makes this area so dangerous when you're pushing in by yourself. If he actually has to deal with all these mobs and gets pulled in by the spear, you just die instantly if you don't have a counter.
Or netted.
Yeah, we're netted.
That's going to do immensely. We have a dead player here, so someone did die, and Double Wide's going to get the loot. Let's go up to Quincey really fast. I think someone must have been fighting Quincey, and then they all jumped off and climbed this mountain. Quincy's at full. You have fights.
Double Wide is so dead.
All over the place. Double Wide getting stomped.
Yeah, Double Wide.
Absolutely picked off here.
Double Wide actually got taken out by the mobs.
Any player who shows up right now is going to have 2 loot bags and a lot of low health players they could contest and gank. We want Vayne to come back here. I'm rooting for Vayne, who's just a solo rat, enjoying their time in the tournament. Molk as well. He sees that player's low. He's probably going to pressure here. He's jumping off. Quincey's still open. I think it's open for 10 minutes. Vayne is back, but look at him. We just talked about this.
He's doing it again. He just throws on the low-level gear and then comes back.
Absolute legend. He's picking up gear sets and hanging out. He's risking nothing, right? He's in bone gear.
This is so smart.
Which takes almost nothing. Look at all these loot bags. Look at him go. He smells the loot. He's a big game.
Oh, he's got to be careful not to get picked off here. I mean, he's not going to...
here. A good counter. He needs his iframe.
And stupidity.
Yeah, he's not risking really anything by doing this, like you mentioned. But the fact that he was able to just loot up that bag and dip out is going to be big for him. Especially if he's able to put any gear on. He's chasing down, look at it, he's chasing down Mexta because Mexta's like 1 HP. This is
wants
huge.
this. He will be this player's level.
Oh my goodness, please teleport.
That's one
okay,
shot.
his teammate showed up.
Arrived, though.
That's going to be it.
Vayne getting smoked.
How is Vayne alive? Vayne's cheating.
The frostback comes out. A good jump off the cliff here. He needs a counter.
Oh, the Chaos Volley is going to take him out.
Chaos Volley. Look, he almost had both players, though. He got greedy, but he almost brought some players out.
They're not out of the woods yet either, because there's a bunch of other players hanging around, and all of these mobs are still chasing them.
This is just the most wildest Quincey we've ever had. Molk could pick up a double kill here. Nice spear Q. That's going to kill Mexta.
Oh, Admiral behind him, too. They're definitely securing this.
Admiral taking a lot of damage, though.
Wait a
Another
second.
player just arrived on
Sky
horseback.
T's here.
Oh, my God. And his teammate. You just have squad after squad getting wiped right now. Admiral is going to try to pull off here. He needs to either res
He
or
wants to
heal.
get his they want to get this.
He's got a good line of sight here. Molk going for the gank and picking it up.
Yeah, this is going to be big for them because Admiral was super low. See, look, he's dropping all this stuff so that his teammate can come back around and pick it up. This is big. But wait, double wide's still here. Mulk doesn't know he's coming. The first Chaos Volley misses, the second misses. Mulk using that double dash to get out of harm's way. Double wide forced to back off. These spearmen do so much damage, so these players are being very careful. If you saw, Admiral was standing still and lost almost half his life. But in the meantime, SkyT and T-Sky ran past everyone and are up here prepped to take on Quincey. Look, SkyT using the horse jousting.
That is crazy that he's jousting with Quincey while other players are squad wiping around the map. And just a quick update here, now that we've got the second admin with eyes in the sky, we've got a player fighting another player at Coppermine, picking up a kill. That's a Skull player. And we also have a team over at Clive. So you just have a lot happening around the map. We're going to keep it here centralized at Quincey as we wait to see a team try to progress into Tier 2 and get ahead of the competition early. This is the $300 Duos Cash Cup, sponsored in part by Stunlock Studios. Thank you all for joining and welcome.
It looks like SkyT spotted somebody because if you noticed, he was in the middle of fighting Quincey. He just hopped off his horse over the cliff. He picked up another horse. I don't know if they're going to try to run this back to their base and secure it or what. He keeps getting knocked off by the mobs. I think you just got to make the decision to deal with it here, but he is going to make his way back up. Double wide in the meantime. I don't know if he picked up the kill, but they are going to run into each other. SkyT's going to call for his teammate, and just like that, T-Sky shows up. Double wide in a lot of trouble now with those mobs at his back. The bombs popping off as well. He managed to land the frostbats.
Neither player can connect the second frostbat for the freeze, but double wide slowed, pulling off into a corner. Another team has just arrived. It's absolute madness here at Quincey. Madness and stupidity.
Admiral and Mulk sneaking by. Maybe they're thinking about taking their shot at Quincey. Quincey is just such a big
it's
brick
blowing
wall.
My mind. How much they want to pressure Quincey with all these other players here.
I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Capitalize on it being open. Someone has to do it. But again, for those of you who are just tuning in, we've got a chaotic modifier on this tournament. The V-Blood bosses have 120% health and damage. Quincey is a brick wall. He's a living legend.
Why she got to do the horse like that, though? SkyT actually being very smart using the horse to block the projectiles there, because the horse just heals over time. As long as you give it the water, it'll stay alive and heal eventually. So it's pretty smart play there from SkyT to block the spear.
Yep, they're trying to clear the mob.
The damage they're taking.
Heal off, but look at the damage. That's a feed. Here comes another player. This could be the end for SkyT and T-Sky. It's double wide, missing the Chaos Volley, connecting with the bat. Nice dodges from SkyT here. T-Sky getting on the horse. We're going to see some Horse Lord gameplay. Here comes another player as well. That might be Vayne.
Both players believe they get out of this.
The horses, they're out of here. They need to go peel and get their health back. Just what an insane start of the tournament we have here. It was quiet for a while as players laid bases down and prepared for the push into Quincey. And now we've got it going on.
Now they're
Let's
just
get back into
posted up.
Quincey really fast. AK at 0. Just incredible how many teams we have here. Everyone knows it's open, right? We've had at least 6 or 7 teams here fighting. And here comes Admiral. He's going to try to 1 versus 1. He's going to joust. You just have all the players who know that if they can get into Iron, they can dominate the early lead here in the tournament, push into Octavian, and head out to Cursed Forest. This is popping off here today. Thank you all for coming out, for the follows, the likes, the loves, and the constructive criticism. And big thanks to Odin for joining us in this esports commentary.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you asking me to be here. This has been a lot of fun. I haven't gotten a chance to do an event like this yet for V-Rising, but man, I can tell you that this is... I can see so many events popping up in the future, and Stunlock has a beautiful game on their hands. It is such a joy to play and to watch, and the possibilities that they have with custom rule sets, modifiers, the way they could potentially make changes to the map, add new skills. The sky's the limit with this game, and this is just a proof of concept of what can be done with tournaments. There's so many opportunities here, and I'm really looking forward to the events that we're going to see in the future.
Absolutely, and like we talked about this morning, here we have 2 teams. They're about to joust again, right? So Admiral trying to keep them out. You would almost think we would see something similar to the... Look at... He's actually at half there. He took a big hit from Quincey. You see the players somersaulting
just
off
dip
the
off.
cliff. And we're gonna see that a lot because Quincey is a very hard boss, especially with players at your back.
Look at this guy. He is just people come up, they run fades with Quincey. Quincy's like, all right, you done? Get out of here.
He's got
just sits right back up. Yeah, dude, Quincey is like a 15 KDA right now. He's just a monster. He's ridiculous. Sign this, man.
As we mentioned earlier, it's never too late to join this tournament. please join the Discord at discord.gg/eclipsegaming for all the rules. Tag yourself for V-Rising. Join the tournament chat. Take a look at some fun pics and videos. We've got some stuff up from the Merciless Solo Cup as players just had some crazy rat strats and managed to get unique souls and incredible PvP fights across the board. We've had huge sieges and counter sieges across the tournaments. Oh my god, the Stalker!
This is so bad for him.
This could be very bad for SkyT. He's using his counters. He's iframing, but it's 2 versus 1 now, and his partner is not close enough to help him. The big freeze from the Frostbat.
SkyT is barely hanging on to life, but he does manage to...
He's going for the horse. If he can...
Oh, let's get knocked off again.
Nice ledge here.
Wait, he is going to be able to jump down. That's huge. It's going to give him a second away.
It's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
He does get picked off. Unfortunately, running away right there seemed like the best play, but the only thing that was really keeping him alive there was the ads, and it was just a bullet hell, basically, just trying to survive the attacks from both Molk and Admiral, while also dealing with the spears. And like you said, yeah, that spear javelin grabbing him and pulling him in was basically his doom. Smart and quick reaction there from Admiral to knock him off the horse with the sword whirlwind, immediately cutting him off from his teammate, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, SkyT was at the top of the... Yeah, he's up here dealing with AK-47. I think he may have killed his other teammate.
We talked about this earlier. The fact that this level 0 has hurt T-Sky so much is that it's always possible to outplay someone with iframes and counters. You're always at a good opportunity, and that's why we really recommend to start the tournament even late, because you can always come back. And I've personally released some videos to YouTube, which you can find at youtube.com/c/strangereligion, just showcasing that players can kill players who are skulls. You can easily outplay someone with a good counter and a nice iframe or a good horse lord strategy. You can really catch someone off guard, and we're seeing that right now with players like Vayne, who are just looting, right? Look at these players have so much loot here at Quincey that they're dropping things on the ground. If you showed up here as a level 0 and you were out of the way and kind of ratting around, right? You want to be quiet and smart. You could have a big come up. Look at all those loot bags.
Look at this.
500 lumber and an entire set of plated gear. You are going to be level 17 with enough stuff to start a base. Yeah, this is tournament level play.
Madness.
This is what we were talking
Madness
about. And
stupidity.
if you want, and I think somebody needs to clip that entire Vayne expedition into the copper mines there, and how he managed to get away, that whole adventure that he went on there. That is the exact thing that we were talking about when we say you can join in late and still be competitive, because all it takes is one slick play to sneak in, steal some loot, and make yourself a threat. Speaking of a threat, that's not a player, but if you get this form and sneak around just like this, you might be able to sneak in and grab some of this loot. We do have a couple teams here that are very strong, so you need to be really careful of that. What I'm curious about is, with all of this going on, this is the other crazy thing about V-Rising, because there's no announcement of any of this happening. If you don't know, you don't have the intel, you just don't know. You don't know that this is all going down. Right now, if we go, wait a second. Molk actually over here hiding in the corner while Admiral once again tries to take on Quincey. In the meantime, I'm going to teleport us over to Humilitant, because I'm curious what they are up to. They're strong enough. They're dealing with Keely right now because they had to come back for her. They managed to set up their base. They're 27. They could roll up and deal with everybody at Quincey, but they don't even know what's happening right now. Unless they sneak by Quincey and happen to notice his gates open, they may never even know that all of this was going down there, unless people start typing about it.
Exactly. And this has been going on so long that you actually could have players who are tuned into the stream taking a look and using that to their advantage. But we did have that mentioned in the rules, right? So this is a level playing field. We've told all competitors that we will be on a 15-minute delay, and so they should be out of a situation and an environment within 10 minutes unless they want to get kind of stream sniped, right? We're talking from the future here, 10 minutes, but it's always possible by now that players know Quincey's open, and so you're just going to see this absolute crazy amount of players showing up. We're seeing a lot of the same teams coming forward and making plays, but you know that there's teams that are out there who are just farming a weird location like we talked about earlier. They're in Cursed Forest, they're in Silverlight Hills, and they're just gathering their tier 3 materials, so by the time this quiets down in tier 1 and 2, they could jump right into their sets of Dawnthorn and or, you know, your dark silver gear and your sanguine weapons. And so you just have players using a lot of weird strats all around the map, and we love to see that.
And look at this, AK coming up here to try to retrieve some loot. Has no idea that there's this whole set right here. And look, there's a Blood Rose ring too. They could definitely get competitive.
Yeah, that is a whole level 17 set right there. Plus you have the stacks of lumbers. So again, level zeros. You have these living legends like Vayne who live next to Quincey. They're just going to be coming here over and over. We've got a dead player here. Is that AK?
It looks like it was.
All right, so you do have some gatekeepers, right? This might be our first Quincey kill.
Yeah, if they can keep this
up. Got a player
up.
gatekeeping and another player fighting Quincey. That is the way to duo in this tournament. But Quincey is so strong, it's going to take them a lot of time to do this. So everyone is risking everything right now by fighting Quincey.
Wait, the gates are closed. Unless Slinky comes back and opens it up or somebody has a bomb, they are now protected. They may just get the chance to take out Quincey because there's no other way to get in. They're safe right now. This is a very interesting turn of events because of that gate respawn. They may now just, in fact, secure themselves Quincey. Egats looking low gear there. Unfortunately, got taken out earlier. While in the copper mines, and Vayne sniped out the gear as he runs by Vayne's house, as we're talking about it. Vayne inside. Decides not to chase him down. We're going to give it a little time before we jump back over to Quincey since there is no action really going on there. These gates are closed. And for the time being, that is Admiral's fight to take. I don't know. The one thing I'm curious about is whether or not his teammate knows that. He is still just sitting here gatekeeping. He's just watching. Look at him. He's got this vantage point. He's just looking to see if anybody comes in. He's going to be able to see them coming, and he could possibly jump down and stop them. But it looks like because the gate is closed and nobody has their explosives or their bear form, Admiral's just going to get this uncontested. You know,
definitely.
Eventually,
you can definitely see as well the power of Quincey and that chaos modifier on him, even on horseback here. It's taking Admiral a long time to bring Quincey to his knees, and we've been essentially fighting Quincey for the last, I don't know, it feels like 30 minutes. Just this epic free-for-all. And now almost every team on the server, all the competitive players know that Quincey is open. You've got solos and duos out here ravaging the land and trying to gear up to fight these big progression-based bosses. And so even if this team kills Quincey, they're going to be off in Dunley for the next 30 minutes or hour, gathering iron and cotton. So they're essentially just going to be progressing on their own, or they just continue to gatekeep Quincey because they'll be the only team with Chaos Barrier, which reflects spells, right? It's just so powerful early game, even late game. And they will also have their ultimate ability, which is going to be huge this early in the game. Getting a stun off with your ultimate, that's about 2 seconds of stun, not incapacitate, where you can deal damage to them. So a team here, a duo team with their ults, is going to be menaces across the map.
He's making good progress here, and once again, because those gates are closed, he really doesn't have anything to worry about. So as long as he doesn't make any huge mistakes, he should have that in the bag, and we are going to have our first Tier 1 progression clear going to the side of Admiral and Mokmok. This is really big for them. Taking a look at the rest of the map, we're just going to go ahead and just give a little sweeping view to see what else is going on across the map here, because we do see a lot of bases and stuff. These players are slowly progressing. I believe this is Nero's base, actually, if I remember correctly.
I also want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to everyone who's helping us put this tournament together. All the admins, Maxor in the chat, pumping out some YouTube videos. Thank you all for being here. This is truly the start of something magnetic and amazing as the competitive community starts to heat up. We've got Stunlock Studios CEO and developers inside the Discord, so please offer feedback on the tournament setting. They are in official talks with Twitch trying to start something, and you could really see even today, here 2 or 3 weeks into the launch of V Rising, the amount of competition and the skills on showcase today as these players peel and heal and make strategic plays. There's just so many ways to get ahead in this tournament that we can talk about strats and counter strats all day long, and we can never not mention the rat strats because you can always come back, right? If you had a rat here, we're now 2 hours into this tournament. Someone could have fished up a Twilight Snapper or looted one from a chest, and they could have killed Putrid Rat there at level 30 and have the rat form. They could be here right now sitting as a rat, and we wouldn't even know it until they decided to come out.
Sneaky rats. Let's head over to Clive real quick. We'll see if any players that were lagging behind a little earlier had a chance to pick up a kill on him, or if he's still wandering around right now. I think with all the action that was going on over at Quincey, it's going to be a surprise if we see anyone here. And yeah, Clive is still alive. Nobody in the vicinity from the looks of things, although the mobs on the outside are currently cleared out. So I think somebody may have had intentions to get in here, but at the moment, all peace and quiet across the map except for what's going on at Clive, which honestly, after the 30 straight minutes of fights that we just witnessed, is not surprising. I think people are kind of back to their base, licking their wounds, getting set up, like you mentioned before, going back to that calm state. And that's one of the more interesting things about this game, right, is you have those big swings of action where a ton of stuff happens all at once. Players die, they got to reset, they got to go back to quietly farming, skulking around in the woods, trying to find their resources. And pretty soon, players are going to get powered up, and they're going to go right back to Quincey. We're going to have those fights all over again.
Absolutely, and the best player that we've showcased so far that's using that mentality is Vayne. Because Vayne's picking up players' sets of gear, and then he's just storing them away, right? He's like ratting away his loot in the attic, hanging that out, man. It's gathering a little bit of dust, and he's just making, like we talked about earlier, those slow but fast and smart plays, right? He's going out naked, he's gathering, he's making expeditions in order to ensure he has multiple sets, and then you're going to see players like that really advance very far in the tournament. Even though it looks like they're only level 8, or even if they die here or there, they're not actually losing anything. Using that set of plated bone, it's very easy to craft, right? It's a little bit of animal hide and a little bit of bone, and you're level 13 or level 8 or level 17, and then you're pressuring these players who have copper, because getting a copper weapon is huge right now.
This is great. Mulk steps up the trade-off because a little mistake there on execution from Admiral got him hit by the charge from Quincey. So now Mulk's going to go ahead and step up. And he has actually a higher item level than Admiral, so that he'll maybe get a little bit more damage on here, depending on what his gear looks like. So this is good for him. But Admiral now in the back healing. They're kind of just trading their posts, taking turns. Like, all right, I had enough of this. Wait a minute. The gate is back open. Do we have potentially Slinky to thank for that, or what's going on here? Because I currently don't see any players in here, but...
This could be a rat. This could be what we just talked about. But it's just amazing how long it's taking them to fight Quincey. And so, like we talked about earlier in the tournament, this is our first real bottleneck
Slinky
boss.
is
Quincey. He's very strong, and you shouldn't be fighting him in your level 20s, right? He's now very strong. You need Merciless Night Stalker, and you need Merciless Copper. But they're pressuring it anyway, and they're trading off just some absolutely top-tier strategic plays today in the tournament. And here comes Slinky. We'll see what he does.
Now, I think Admiral actually straight up had to leave because he was so low, and he was worried about getting killed if somebody ran up. And look at this. Mulk is now faced with a very difficult decision. They've invested so much time into this. You know, we've talked about before, like, yeah, dying isn't worth it. Just, you know, take the L, leave. Leave with your life, leave with your gear. But when you've invested this much time into it, they've been here for 2 day cycles now. This is a lot of time to invest into something where they're not gathering resources, they're not doing anything productive, they're just trying to kill this boss for progression. So giving this up right now really hurts the amount of time that they invested, so he's not willing to give it up just yet. I think he's waiting for Admiral to show back up so that they can try to take the 2v1 on Slinky. Slinky seems unwilling to engage, and I think they've got a little bit of a truce here. I think Slinky might be more interested in just teaming up to take the boss down and get that blood than he is about killing Mulk. Slinky is now going to be forced to face down Quincey.
Yep, and we saw this earlier, right? Slinky was being very aggressive while fighting AK-47 here, and then AK-47 responded with aggression, chasing him off the cliff and securing the kill on Slinky. So Slinky's probably learned his lesson, right? He spent the last 20 minutes gearing back up, and he realizes that maybe the play is actually to wait for the other team to kill Quincey. That way they can suck the neck together and both teams can progress. But unfortunately, because Mulk jumped off, Slinky is forced to make a decision here if he wants to try to kill Quincey, or if he should pull away and reset. But with Admiral and Mulk probably at full health by now, I think we're going to see both of those players end up killing Slinky, right? One will take Quincey, and the other will chase the Slinky.
Yeah, this is a tough situation for Slinky. If you can't get this boss killed really quickly, then you're in a lot of trouble. I absolutely agree. I think some other teams might even show up because everybody knows that this is what's going on here. And even if you're low gear, like we saw before, Vayne sneaking up here to try to steal some kills, it's possible that you just walk up and get the blood from Quincey. And even dying and losing like level 20 gear is totally fine if you get Quincey in the process, because that's such a big gatekeeper for progress, especially at this point in the server. You could get really far ahead of people by then being able to sneak into the mine and just go straight to iron. And look at Admiral not willing to get engaged in this whatsoever.
I think if I was Slinky, now that Admiral's up here, I think I jump off and I reset, right? We go onto that little ledge over there just to what looks like the west, and we drop down 1 level, and then we heal. Because if Slinky gets low, Admiral's definitely going to kill him. And because Admiral was fighting Quincey for so long, Admiral's not going to want to give this up. So if I was Slinky, I would find a nice spot to heal and wait for my combat to fall off.
If I'm either player in this situation, to me, I'm just thinking, let's just get this boss down. We can worry about killing each other after, because if you take a risk by engaging in the fight and something goes wrong and it turns on you, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it to take that risk.
And we're seeing players learn on the spot, because Slinky was playing very aggressive before, and now he's kind of hanging out. And the craziest part is these, these temporary, I don't want to call them alliances, but these kind of like, you're trying to guess what the other player is going to do, and it's almost always not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out, especially because I feel like as soon as Quincey is a bit lower, Admiral and Mulk are probably going to kill Slinky. Because
wait, no,
why
they're
let
leaving
him
him
get
alone.
into Iron?
They're leaving him alone. There's a little truce
they
here.
They don't want to pressure anymore.
I respect
They know
it.
Slinky can leave and then come back and upset them, and they've done so much work on Quincey. They don't want to lose it. But I feel like another team could easily show up here and ruin everyone's progress. And we would love to. There's another player. We see him down there in wolf form. Someone else is here for sure.
And the thing is, we've seen Slinky pretty much only solo, but you never know when a teammate could show up. You can see a player alone 20 times, but then the one time you decide to fight him, their teammate comes out of nowhere, and suddenly you've made a horrible mistake. It's always a risk. No matter how much you think you have an advantage, there is always a risk to fighting people in this game. AK-47 shows up. We see the voice comms. Everybody seems to just be calling a truce at the moment.
We were just talking about that. We haven't seen AK's teammate. Now Opus is here.
Tensions are very high.
Look at 3 teams now are going to progress together into Iron. They're going to have their ultimates. Here comes the
Trapula too.
Trapula. Oh, he wants it.
This is huge for Trapula.
That's
Oh my goodness.
Into Iron.
We have 4 teams to tier 2
into the tournament.
And here comes the fight. Let's go. Mulk immediately mounting up on the horse. Slinky managing to steal the horse as well. Is he going to sneak off? There's 2 players at the cliff. Everyone left. I agree with it 100%. It doesn't, again, it doesn't matter how strong you are when everyone's hitting each other in this tiny little area like that. You could instantly die if something goes wrong. 100% agree with the play to just get out of here. You got here. You got what you came here for. Just leave. Slinky, have be forced to run up the ramp here to get away. Let's go take a look off the side of the mountain here, just in case some players did.
And that's what we're talking about. We saw Trapula, who had never before appeared at the fight, suddenly there. You only need 1 player on your team to kill Quincey, and they can craft Iron for the whole team. So this is what we're talking about. As a solo, you can absolutely progress. You can make crazy plays and get ahead of the competition. We've got people who are low, right? Here's Glaucus, who has no PvP timer, so he must have been zeroed here at level 1, or he's doing that, economics of hardcore, where he's running around, he's looting chests and points of interest, and then he's just going to store all that in his base. So you're making safe, smooth plays across the board.
Man, what an incredible event that we had over there at the Bandit King. It felt like an hour went by where everyone was just fighting for supremacy, trying to get that kill. And now, just like that, we have 4 teams that are moving on into tier 2 with the access to that smeltery. They are going to be able to start crafting themselves some iron gear, and that means we need to start keeping an eye on the iron mines. We're going to go ahead and check in on F-Bear as well, because most likely there's going to be some players over there getting ready to progress just behind that. Knowing that Quincey died, they're going to have to get that gate open somehow. Speaking of which, King slipping in here into the mine, and like you talked about earlier, you mentioned the Hellfire doing some damage to the nodes here. He's going to be looking to pop open some crates. He's going to be looking to open chests. He's going to be looking to grab any iron ore that might just be sitting on the ground for some quick and easy upgrades. Doesn't look like he's able to find anything here, so King may end up walking away empty-handed, because there is no chance he is strong enough to stay in here and fight these mobs.
Definitely not, and the iron mine is honestly one of the most dangerous spots in the game, probably the most dangerous outside of Octavian in tier 2, because if you get caught off by the Hellfire, if you just take one small tippy tap step into it, it's going to do damage over time and melt about 25% of your health bar. And then additionally, you have Meredith, right? Here she is. If she hits you with that blessed arrow, it's going to do about 70% damage to you, especially down here at level 20. And so we do have these players who are employing these kind of skip strats, right, where he's just gathering iron, gathering cotton, looting things, and hanging out. There's a chest, so he wants that chest, but there's so many monsters on him that he might just jump out of the back here. Yeah, he's taken off. He was probably looking for a gank as well on another player employing the same strategies. And so we do have all these players spread out right now across the map making plays, and then we see them centralized in places like Quincey for the big fights.
Yeah,
let's take a look at F-Bear and Clive real quick as well.
Oops. No, that's the wrong one. Oh wait, T-Sky and his teammate over here checking to see if Quincey is still available. Unfortunately, I think they missed the memo that he did get taken out, so Sky T pick up some loot there. F-Bear coordinates are, remind me, is it 1510?
I actually don't.
1510.
There it is, 1510.
F-Bear is dead.
So you have players spread out all the way across tier 1, making plays. They want Quincey, and now 4 of arguably the best teams on the server, whether or not that's talking about skill or progression, have now moved on to Iron. So you've got just an incredible amount of teams out here in the tournament who are just making plays around tier 1. They don't even probably know that Quincey has been killed, and so you're going to have players in the next hour or two with iron weapons, but we've got those bottlenecks in place for tier 2 as well. Beatrice and Quincey are buffed, Beatrice and Octavian are buffed. So these bottlenecks are absolutely in play to keep players centralized across Farbane Woods and Dunley.
Nikolaus still alive. Nobody has taken him out yet. While he is going to give you access to that second level of research, nobody has prioritized him yet since all of that action was happening at Quincey, but I do have a feeling we're going to see him going down relatively soon. We'll go ahead and check in on Clive as well, because I have a feeling that players are going to be looking for him as well. Any straggling teams that haven't had an opportunity to pick him up yet are going to be looking for that kill. He might actually be dead. Nope, he's still alive. Clive might be on his longest life yet so far on this server, considering how busy everybody's been elsewhere on the map. Alright, and let's go back over to Quincey, check in with Sky T and T-Sky and see what they are up to. They left their horses here. Don't know if
Let's also teleport over to IHU Militants. So we know the IHU Militants team has not killed Quincey, so I'm curious to know what they're up to. They're definitely one of the top teams to look out for. They took an early wipe against another team while fighting Alpha Wolf.
Yeah, they just slipped by Frostmaw there. Militant just chilling out.
Yeah,
hey,
so
look at there, 31. They're doing good
31.
right now.
So this is those players that are in the Merciless Stalker and Merciless Copper, and they're going to be coming up to level 37. So they're waiting to pressure Quincey, right? A ton of teams managed to get Quincey, but they spent a long time doing it, and they probably lost a lot of gear sets. So these other players are a bit behind, but they're not too far. Now, what would be the play of the game, right, is those players who have already killed Quincey gatekeeping, and they're going to use their ults to kill these higher tier players. So you just have this incredible mix of some players going for gear and some going for skills and progression, and we're going to see them clashing here in the next 30 minutes.
I have a feeling they're going to check on Quincey right now based on where they're heading. They might be heading over there right now. In fact, Militant's team may be the ones that picked off F-Bear. Something SLS, if we got any studio members in the chat, it would be great for spectator tools for us to be able to see individual progress for things like that, so we could know whether or not a team has killed it. If we could check in on their skills, that would be a wonderful feature to have in the future, so we can give updates on the on the fly here as we watch this. And yeah, they're heading towards Quincey. I think the intent here is to check in on the Bandit King. Now, I don't know off the top of my head what his respawn timer is, but I think it's more than a day, correct?
Yeah, I don't know either. It might be 10 or 15 minutes, which is probably one full day cycle at least, but definitely to see that coming up and making some plays. Let's go see what one of the teams who killed Quincey are up to. So let's check in with Admiral and maybe Slinky, and we'll see what they're up to, right? Because now they've pressured into tier 2. Most likely, especially if they have the Merciless Copper already on board, they're either going to be farming Sulfur Mine or Iron Mine.
Oh, they're straight up here.
Oh, they're absolutely building. This is the tier 3 play of the game here. They've got the arguably best castle spot in the entire game, so one of them might have just went up here immediately. And we've been talking about this since day 1, right? You only need about 9 walls to fully block off the entirety of this territory. Now, keep in mind, guys, we've got some chaos modifiers for this tournament, and so you can only have 30 territory tiles per tier 1 castle, 40 tier 2, moving up to 60 at tier 4, and limited servants, 1 at tier 1 and 4 at tier 4. So you have very small play space, small castles, and a small amount of servants. So you have to be organized, competitive, and strategic, and we're seeing this all play out live right here.
And of course, they are right near Brighthaven Square. Got some very dangerous bosses and enemies in this area. The paladins are absolutely ridiculous. So,
and I tested this. You can actually kill some of these tier 3 monsters, right? There's already a monster low. So as soon as you get the opportunity to charm, right? As soon as you go through the main story quest and you get your throne unlocked, you can actually dominate even tier 3 servants. So you could have tier 3 muskets over in the tier 1 zone. You can have these crazy, very powerful servants early in the span of the game's life, and those are going to help you kill monsters and players as long as you use them tactically.
So having control of the Silverlight is going to be very big for them, and of course, like you said, that's one of the best areas to build in the game. The other one that I like, we talked about, we highlighted this here earlier. Let us go and teleport to player. Let's go check in on, oops. Let's go ahead and check in on Trapula, who is also up here in Dunley Farms. Looking like they may want to teleport. I think they might have lost their gear. They are currently garlicked. The worst thing. I think they died. The unfortunate thing is that the garlic persists after death. Something I personally hope that they change in the future.
You know what? I actually like garlic. We've seen so many players make complaints against garlic, but it is that bottleneck for your Hollow Fang tier 2 set, and then you also need it for your Dawnthorn. So it's just one of the spots that kind of forces you to play smart, and it's easily counterable, right? If you get a garlic resistance potion and a tier 2 cape, which you can actually loot out of chests. I've personally pulled tier 2 capes. They are going to come with garlic resistance. So basically you just have to prepare rather than just making these wild plays. But I like to see the naked players who are just gathering lootables at the farms, right? They're just robbing the peasants and workers, trying to find that cotton yarn and those stacks of cotton just inside the chests, barrels, and crates. And so it's easily counterable if you play for it. And if you don't, I think you deserve those stacks of garlic. Additionally, we have a chaos modifier. Oh, very true. Playing as the bear is going to, give you higher resistances. It's going to help you cleanse those stacks and heal faster. But with the chaos modifier rule set that we've got going for this cash cup, these are actually going to do more damage to you than normal servers. Garlic, silver, and holy damage are amplified by 125%. So they're going to do 25% more to you than normal. So you need to be using those resistance potions, and this is that competitive level of play. We want to see players preparing rather than trying to skip through the content.
Yep, so as expected, we do see Humilitan's team is nearby at the T-Skis. Actually, did they die? They did. T-Sky's team took out Humilitan. He must have been by himself. He didn't have his teammate with him. That makes me wonder if Zombie also went down, or if it was just a matter of, okay, so Zombie is still alive, but he's pretty close to Quincey. So, wow, as you were talking about earlier, the gear differential, while it does make a difference in your combat power, you still can outplay more geared players, because we saw T-Sky and Sky T both sub 27 beating 31 plus players.
Absolutely, and like we saw with, who was it, Vayne or Slinky, we have some low-level players who are pressuring. We've seen teams, especially duos, absolutely at Quincey, who were essentially one-shot, and everyone's jumping away, everyone's healing, and so you can always come up. We've actually got someone in the chat right now who mentioned that Trapula managed to just get on the server, right? They're talking in tournament chat. He just got on the server and snagged himself a Quincey. So you have these fresh players who are joining the tournament who are now in first place, right? They're tied for first, they're into tier 2. they're going to be going for iron. And you love to see that. You can always join this tournament late, guys. Come on in. You've got the rat strats, the outplays, and the counter strats. We're doing all the things all the time.
Quincey now looks, SkyT managed to take Humilitan's gear, and he is now 31 himself, and he's doing, because of that, he's doing quite a number on Quincey's health. He's managing to whittle down Quincey a lot faster than the previous teams that attempted this. So SkyT's team, despite the fact that they were not here at that opportune moment to pick up the kill on the Quincey, are looking to secure themselves a chance at it. Now, you have to ask yourself whether or not Humilitant has some gear, and we'll go check in on him again if they're getting ready to maybe come back and take this fight. So he's 23. He could definitely go up there because Zombie Sphinx is sitting nearby. If Zombie Sphinx is sneaky enough to get into the camp, he's still chilling out nearby. I think he's just waiting. If I was a betting man, I would say that he's probably just waiting for Humilitant to pick up some of that spare gear and come back here and take their revenge, especially if they know that he's fighting Quincey. That's going to force them into a bad spot if they do manage to run up at the same time. And look, we have, once again...
Definitely. And you have that one player gatekeeping, so if two players arrive, especially on horseback, you can deal some serious damage to the gatekeeper and either force a reset on the boss, steal the boss, or pressure that to get kills. So you really have to make these in-the-moment strategic decisions. And it's beautiful to see iHumilitant really showcasing the cycle of the hardcore environment, right? The Merciless setting. He dies, he's level 0, he pulls out a set of gear, he's level 23, and then he's on the way back. So as long as you're prepared, taking a death really doesn't hurt you that bad. So this is what we want to see in a competitive environment.
Wait a minute, is SkyT gonna die to the dot?
SkyT one-shot here.
SkyT manages to literally 1 HP. He was
Let's go back up.
to
Let's see if
die.
his partner is going to pick up Quincey here. Who's this?
Those bagels.
Bagels has showed up, hoping to get the little suck on Quincey at the last moment, but he's picking up a big death. And now we do have the swap, right? This is the absolute perfect play for duos, trios, or quads, right? You've got your squad gatekeeping. If you get in trouble, you swap out, and they carry the fight forward.
That turn at the last second, as T-Sky was just trying to reorient the horse, actually managed to avoid the charge from Bandit King. That's pretty ridiculous. That's one of those things where he's like, yeah, I meant to do that.
Here is where you want to see iHumilitant and Zombie show up, because T-Sky's at half on Quincey and his teammate doesn't have a horse and he's nowhere nearby. So you have these opportune moments to come in and pick up a kill on the boss and the players, and this is just how it's going to be. These bosses are very hard. They're much more challenging than we're used to, and you can see these players, especially these competitive players, it's even affecting them. Taking just one hit is going to chunk your health down significantly.
Look, Humilitant, they were stacked up. Just like that, 5 minutes later, he's already back up to 28. He just put together a few things from the base. He's ready to go. Zombie Sphinx using his time intelligently, just gathering some materials while he waits for his teammate to show up. Looks like he may have just picked up a kill, or it could have been a random loot here as he's dropping some plated bone gear. Or I guess he's probably just going to hold on to it. It's a good idea to have that as backup, as we've seen, just dying and grabbing that gear, heading right back out. I do expect very soon that we are going to see these two teams facing off once again, because they're definitely going to want revenge after that one. Alright, so they rotated out because SkyT is 31, so they want to keep him on damage on the boss to get this done as quickly as possible. And they have to know that Humilitant's on his way back up. Double wide, getting stuck up on behind by T-Sky, knocking him off the horse with the Q skill from the spear. They're both whiffing in each other's faces a little bit here. Very good use of the dodge to slip away. He actually gets away entirely. T-Sky given the slip. Very nice movement there from Double Wide, giving him the old...
Indeed, and a double is kind of hanging out. He wants this. You could actually see that moment of hesitation when he went to the top of the stairs, and he saw that they were fighting Quincey, where he had to think to himself, do I fight the player? Do I wait for them to kill him? And this is exactly what we saw in the Merciless solo tournament. You have a lot of players, right? So he's just going to hang out here. He wants Quincey, and so he has to make an evaluation on whether or not he needs to take this fight, or try to wait, or see what happens. And so you only need your teammate to kill Quincey. Here is a third team showing up. This is T-Gats at level 0. Another player behind him, Bagels level 0. Just a ton of teams showing up again. The Quincey fights and the Quincey plays and outplays are immense at the moment. T-Sky trying to gatekeep. He's probably telling his teammate, I don't know what's going on, man. There's a lot of people here. Be careful.
Yeah, we got the Mortal Kombat announcer in the back going, round 2, fight. All these teams just showing up, looking for a piece of the action, and I'm curious if we're going to get another instance of a bunch of people showing up at the last second to steal that power. We had 4 teams move into T2. If we get another 4 teams, this is quickly going to turn into chaos because they're all going to be fighting for those prime real estate spots in Dunley Farms, especially because some of the better spots have already been taken, like we talked about. But really, I mean, the team that managed to secure this point, they're in such a good position, especially because they're so isolated from everybody else right now. They're just doing their own thing. They're chilling.
Yeah, I'm going to love to check in on them in a little bit and see what they do here. So Bagel's a little bit out of position. Let's check on the gatekeeper. I think we have a lot of teams here. We got some horses over there as well. If IHU Militant and Zombie show up here,
these
that
guys
could
done
absolutely change everything. We have at least 2 teams here, level 20 plus. So let's take a look at what Zombie's doing.
Speaking of which, they are now walking up.
Look at, they're picking a player off here, level 20. Another team has just arrived. We have 4 or 5 teams here at Quincey and an unknown amount of rats. I think Quincey was at, what, half? So I don't think we're going to see Quincey get killed here. I think we're going to have a raging battle all the way across up to the upper tiers of Quincey. Look at these players are actually, it looks like Zombie might be in bone. So they might have run out of copper after taking that earlier wipe. There we go. They're pressuring all the way to the top. They see all the players, right? They have to be careful. There's the gatekeeper. A player in back healing
These
as well.
guys pointing at them.
Many teams.
What's going on here? I'm very surprised that they didn't just immediately kill him.
See, look, you got T-Sky surrendering. He says, Quincey's low. What are we going to do here, fam? All these players absolutely trying to progress. I want to see some PvP. I want to see some players get killed. But you've been fighting here at Quincey for over an hour. So we're going to see some interesting things take place here.
Oh, they decided that they weren't having it. The combat is starting. No, T-Sky actually just getting hit by a mob there. They're still holding a truce while they wait for Quincey to get low enough to snack on. And I have a feeling we're going to see a similar situation to last time where everybody just jumps on him, gets their power. The smart thing for one of these teams to do is what we saw earlier when we were watching the fights happen at Clive, which is where as the teams are running up, holding F, trying to get the bite, they deal a bunch of damage to them while they're stuck in that animation before the iframes start. Then when the bite finishes and they get their power, they can then unload all their cooldowns and try to kill the
T-Sky won. T-Sky actually dead here. And, oh my goodness, Sky T won as well. I think we're going to see some PvP. Look at this level 0, instantly level 22. Instantly getting a come up. That's what you want to see. This is huge. We need to see some PvP here. I would like to see Sky T's team eliminated, right? So you want to see Humilitant pushing this. Here comes another team as well.
Double wide and next, sneaking up at the last second.
Zombie just got smoked. Zombie stunned by Quincey. Picking up a kill here.
Here it comes. Everyone pulling up once again at the last second to get that bite.
He got 4 teams right here. Humilitant can't suck him. He's stuck on the loot bag. I think he got it at the last second.
He got it at the last second.
Picking that up. We're going to see some PvP.
Here comes the chase down. Who's getting
Everyone
picked off?
just going random directions. Absolute confusion and chaos up here at Quincey. We now have 8 teams. Look, let's go down there. That's a chaos volley. Knocking a player off a horse. T-Gats, one shot and
Poor
killed.
T-Gats getting picked off. No gear, no point to kill him. Just kill him just because.
They're not even going to loot him, but you never know what a player has. I killed a player at Quincey before, and his inventory was stacked. Here's Bagels as well, getting caught off the horse now. This is going to be the end of Bagels.
Yeah, this is tough. Bagels is in a really rough situation.
Very tough.
He just got that loot too. They don't want a part of it.
They don't even look like they care. They're probably stacked with loot. They killed Quincey. Maybe they've got their whole base, and they're on their way. There's Humilitant. So Humilitant and Zombies team narrowly missing all this fight, but here it comes again.
Oh no, you gotta be careful. He's got that 3v1. He does see the horse. He's gonna go ahead and grab that.
Everyone dodging.
Yeah, this is smart. I think the risk there of losing all your gear right after you get to T1 is right after you get to T2 is too big of a setback for some of these teams. So they just looked for the easy kills and then got out. They don't want to take these potentially dangerous fights. And Humilitant, once again, this is like 3rd or 4th death. Vayne just popping off a shot on him. He's like, what are you doing, man? Come on, leave me alone.
Yeah, we want to see Vayne knock someone off the horse. This is his castle, so he could take any fight here, essentially consequence-free. Yeah, so he's waiting. He knows something happened. There's a lot of players been running by. Look at all these horses. This guy is absolutely prepared for the future.
Yeah, he's ready. If you've never done a PvP world, there's one thing that you should know is that you never chase players into their house, because what can happen is that you create these vacuum seal rooms basically, and this airlock is meant to lock players in. If somebody chases you through this door, you lock them in here as you run inside your building. They cannot leave. They have to die. The only way out is to break your walls if it's siege hour, and if it's not, they are SOL. They cannot get out of there unless they use the unstuck command or just let themselves die from blood loss.
For sure, those airlocks and the honeycombs, we've seen so many different strategies with bases. And we are only a couple hours out now, right? This has taken a lot of teams a lot of time to get into tier 2. And you see the majority, if not all the castles currently are wood. So we want to see players going for small explosive boxes in order to capitalize on the 1 hour siege window. So this server does employ a 1 hour siege window every day of the tournament. This tournament is a week long, concluding Friday night after the siege window. And so what tends to happen is in the midweek and late end of the week, all of the players are preparing siege golems, and they're working very hard to get ready to siege on that siege hour in order to steal the unique souls so they can win the prizes. The first place prize for this tournament is $150 for the soul of Solaris the Immaculate, but you can actually win all 3 prizes. Your team could come away from this tournament with $300 if you can secure all 3 souls. And we've seen that happen in both of the last solo tournaments because the players who get strong stay strong, and they siege and they take what's not theirs to come out ahead.
Look at T-Sky just giving all these mobs the slip. He somehow manages to get into wolf form after luring mobs into each other, forcing them to fight one another. He is dropped off all his gear so he could run into the town here to try to grab some things, but this could end very poorly very quickly. If you get hit even once by some of these mobs, they will just kill you straight up. Not to mention the militia brews right behind him. That charge, and he does get sniped out. That is unfortunate. Thankfully, he left all of his gear back at home, so he's not really losing anything, and he can just come straight back here and pick this back up. This is a smart play because he's not risking anything, and he has a lot to gain from getting the items in here.
This is an endgame strategy. This is an absolute skip. We saw right there, 1 small barrel dropped 3 copper ingots. So by just farming here, they're going to get their servants into copper gear, right? They're going to be sending their servants out to gather for them, picking up golden jewelry and other big high-tier mats, so that way they don't have to farm as often. So we see the economics of the servants. Even with only 4 servants, right? Your squad of 2 will have 8, and those will go out and farm for you when it's not the siege window. So you can choose that 23-hour farm time, that 22-hour, mission time, and those servants are going to bring you back so much stuff that's going to stop you from having to farm as much, and also stop you from having to play as much, which is what I think we're looking for here in this tournament, and why we've capped out the amount of time that players can be online. So this server is only open for 12 hours on Saturday and Sunday, and 8 hours on the weekdays. So we don't want people to be able to grind all day, every day, and obviously some people will have more time than others, but we're hoping to kind of level the playing field here in the $300 Duos Cash Cup.
And we are winding down to when we are going to take a break here on the commentary. As we've been going for a few hours here, we wanted to get the open action. As this second kill from Quincey happened, we are going to see that things start to settle out just a little bit as the teams move north and try to set up in Dunley Farms. The mobs in that area, just as well as the garlic and all the general terrain, are extremely dangerous. So taking PvP fights while you're not geared all the way up is very, very inadvisable. So it's likely that as teams move up to that northern area, it's going to quiet down. But we expect later on tonight that things will pick back up, especially with that siege hour that's going to come up. We're going to potentially see some teams looking to go raid these areas. And, of course, we saw Admiral's base area is such a good spot. As you mentioned, Strange, it's just like one of the best spots in the entire game. If you know that somebody built there, you might want to try to take that away from them.
Absolutely. You want to try, and this is key here, is you want to try to zero out players. It's kind of a grim, dark kind of gank environment here in the tournament. And what we saw in the other tournaments is a lot of players, especially that didn't have as much time to play or they got killed early, they were sitting as rats at bosses and just bringing their headset volume to max. And then they were just doing other things, right? They're reading books, they're hanging out, and they're waiting to get strategic kills. And so additionally, you've got players on the other side, right? You've got these 8 teams who are now in Iron, who are absolutely on their way to kill Terra, the Geomancer, in order to unlock the Siege Golem. And I do believe we're going to have teams getting zeroed out. We're going to have Castle Hearts being keyed and destroyed off the map, and we're going to see a lot of strategic movement during the Siege Hour. We've got 7 days of 1-hour sieges. That means every day, more than likely, teams are going to be getting eliminated and zeroed out of this tournament.
Mulk and Admiral on their way back to the Logan camp to try to pick up what they had. It looks like they actually ran into kind of a tough time earlier because they were on top of the server at one point, and now they are completely wiped out. But we are now all the way onto night 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been up for 3.5 hours now, and it has been nonstop action, minus just some minor lulls, and we've seen so many teams rise and fall so quickly. There's yet to be a single team that has established perfect dominance over the server. Anytime those teams looked like they were the clear victors, they were ahead of everybody else, they immediately got humbled and smacked down by another team, only for another team to rise up and take that team out. And that is just going to continue throughout this week. So if you are interested in joining, make sure you get on the Discord, sign up, put your name in that pot, get on here, find some victims, get yourself some gear, power up, and go after those soul shards.
Absolutely. It's never too late to join this tournament, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the first 3 hours of the $300 Duos Cash Cup, sponsored in part by Sunlock Studios. And we will catch you all next time for another day in the tournament.
Take it easy, guys.